Alrighty, let's get into it, shall we? Week 1 of the 2024 fantasy football season is just about to take place. I mean, again, the last couple days has been a little bit of a appetizer of sorts, but the full meal is taking place later today in about 3 hours. Greetings and salutations, everyone. My name is Andrew Kirchhoff, and welcome to, of course, the Sunday morning live stream like we do every single Sunday morning for the remainder of the season, for the singular purpose of trying to get you guys and your lineups ready to go. Again, there's a lot of questions regarding Jamar Chase. There's a lot of questions regarding Keenan Allen, DeAndre Hopkins, a lot of players as to whether or not they're going to go today. As you can see to the right side of the screen, I do have updated rankings. Those rankings can change over the course of today's, overall live stream of sorts. So keep in mind, we are trying to stay up to date. I have my notifications on the monitor to the left of me, but as I progress throughout today's video, the rankings to the right side of the screen, which I've blown up relatively massive in comparison to seasons past, they're going to rotate. Running backs, wide receivers, quarterbacks, kickers, defense, tight end, etc. So if you guys are interested, of course, check out the screen to the right. Just, oh, jeez Louise, Papa Cheese. Just right there. There it is. Those are my updated running back rankings, for example. Now, in this specific circumstance, there is no inclusion for the players who have already gone ahead and played. So Pacheco, Derrick Henry, guys, Josh Jacobs, Saquon Barkley, they're no longer needed to be in this conversation. So these are just players that stay within whatever is left remaining. Okay, so we're all on the same page. I will remind you guys of this as we progress because more and more people will continue to filter in over the course of today's live stream. But again, all we're doing is answering questions to the best of my ability. The pinned comment in the comment section for myself or in the live chat is when you ask a question, please do me a favor and include your scoring format. It really does make a huge difference in regards to the potential answer that you get going into today's, of course, week of games. So as we'll kind of move along here, you'll begin to see that on the right side of the screen, when it comes to my wide receiver rankings, Jamar Chase sits at around, I think, 13, just outside of the top 12. But again, if he plays, there's a incentive to have him in your starting lineup. If he doesn't play altogether in the next coming hours, we will remove him and then subsequently move up guys like Andre Yoshivas and go ahead and approach it that way. Outside of that, should be good to go. So let's get into answering questions. Again, if you do send in a super chat, which is greatly appreciated, be sure to include your scoring format so I don't have to go on a witch hunt trying to find your question. All right. So let's go ahead and begin with the first question of the day that comes in from Jocko. Jocko, thank you very much. Asks the following: in a full PPR scoring format, for my flex, do I play Ramondre Stevenson, Andre Yoshivas, or Keenan Allen? Between the three of them in a full PPR, I'd feel most comfortable playing Keenan Allen, mainly because of the three. Okay, Yoshivas requires a lot of potential help in his circumstance. If Jamar Chase is missing, there may be a conversation to be had in which you can elevate him to that level to be a more valuable piece than a Keenan Allen. But what Keenan Allen is going to provide, mainly because of the difficulty of the matchup in regards to that secondary for the Tennessee Titans. Again, the Tennessee Titans secondary, their primary cornerback, Snead, is going to make DJ Moore's day very difficult, to say the very least. So Caleb Williams is going to have to look elsewhere in a lot of the circumstances, and it'll probably be in the direction of Keenan Allen, who did end up getting a full designated practice on Friday, which is a huge bonus in terms of our confidence in trusting him going into this weekend. So I would take Keenan Allen there first, Ramondre second, Yoshivas third. If there's anything that happens to Chase in regards to him potentially not playing, then we can kind of adjust it accordingly. But even then, I'd still probably play Keenan Allen in this circumstance. All right. Thank you very much, Jocko. We move on to a question that came in from Mark Maloney. Thank you, Mark. Appreciate it. So as for Mark's question, half PPR flex, we have Pollard, Chase Brown, DeAndre Hopkins, and Josh Palmer. So let me go ahead and check here. Half PPR, Control F. Let's go Palmer. Where is Palmer in comparison to Pollard in my flex rankings, half PPR? So as it currently stands, Palmer is the highest ranked player of the bunch in a half PPR scoring format. That's the direction that I'm going in. Behind him would be Pollard. So we go Palmer, Pollard, DeAndre Hopkins, then Chase Brown in that exact order. They're all within quite literally 7 ranks of one another, but Palmer is 2 spots ahead of Pollard and Pollard's like 4 spots ahead of D-Hop accordingly in a half PPR scoring format. So that's how we would approach it. Josh Palmer's the play there, Mark. Thank you. Appreciate the question. All right, Eric Sanchez had sent in a super chat, but I don't see his message attached to it. I'm going to try to go for the witch hunt and see if I can find it here in the live stream chat. So let's go look this up, Eric. All right, I see your question. It says, hey, Andrew, Harrison, Olave, Pittman, McLaurin, start 2 of the potential 4. Also start, okay, so let's first handle the first question. Between Harrison, Olave, McLaurin, and Pittman, the order at which I would go about it, it'll rotate on screen and get back onto the screen for about 15 seconds before it moves on. But Olave and Harrison are the 2 that I'm playing out of this bunch. Third would be Pittman, and then fourth would be McLaurin. So I'm playing Harrison and Olave in week 1. As for your follow-up question there, Eric, says also, do I start Javonte Williams or Zamir White? I think it's very much so scoring format dependent, considering you didn't include your scoring format within the question. If I was to approach it in a half PPR scoring format, I'm playing Zamir White. In a full PPR, I would then consider, and I would play Javonte Williams. Thank you for the question. Appreciate it, Eric. Okay, moving on. We had a question from Cowboys 9511, who sends in the following question. It says, do I drop Trevor Lawrence for Justin Fields? No, I mean, as it currently stands, the rankings will rotate, but I do have Trevor Lawrence ahead of Justin Fields going into this week. So I'd probably just play Trevor Lawrence. He's got a great matchup, primarily because, first and foremost, it's expected based on Vegas total to be one of the highest scoring games into the week. So taking on the Miami Dolphins, probably a shootout between these 2 teams. Trevor Lawrence is implied to get a pretty good hefty volume of fantasy points within his overall scoreline. There's a reason why within my wide receiver rankings that you can see over there, I have both Brian Thomas Jr. and Christian Kirk ranked within the top 36. Evan Ingram's relatively high ranked at the tight end position. It should be a great week for them. But yeah, Trevor Lawrence right there as my number 6. I have Justin Fields as my number 10 at quarterback for this week. Again, that's under the assumption that Justin Fields does in fact become the starting quarterback in the absence of a Russell Wilson. I know that Russell Wilson is supposed to warm up before Sunday's game. So probably in about an hour to an hour and 15 minutes, we'll get a better understanding as to who is going to be starting for the Steelers. All signs are pointing to that being Justin Fields, though. The lack of mobility because of the calf injury of Russell Wilson, very similar to week 1 of last year with Joe Burrow and his calf injury, it could be very detrimental for the team. And even if Russell plays, there may be even a chance where he gets replaced mid-game. But if it's for sure going to be Justin Fields as a starter, he's a top 10 quarterback of the remaining quarterbacks that are left. Outside of that, in your circumstance, no, I wouldn't drop Lawrence. I would hold him and even play him. Now, if that's your backup quarterback, I'd still hold Trevor Lawrence because there's nothing that says that Justin Fields won't throw 5 picks today and be replaced next week by Russell Wilson. There's nothing that says that. All right, thank you, Cowboys. Appreciate it. Neil Patel sends in a super chat. Thank you, Neil. Greatly appreciate it. Neil says, happy Sunday. It is a happy Sunday. It is week 1, guys. We have finally gotten to week 1 of the 2024 fantasy football season. All of the speculation that we have had over the course of the last couple months, whether it's, during the NFL draft, whether it's free agency, whether it's, obviously just drafting our fantasy teams, the speculations are now going to be potentially answered. But I will say, before I get into Neil Patel's question, please do not overreact as to what happens today. There are going to be studs on your team that do not perform up to where you drafted them. That does not objectively mean that they are going to be worthless for the remainder of the season. Just like how Mark Andrews or Travis Kelce did not play well in that Thursday game, does not mean that they are not going to have a sustained value for the remainder of the season that could help us win games. So just do not overreact. Stay calm. Everybody just relax and just enjoy the Sunday and enjoy that football's back. Okay, Neil, your question is the following. I got Keenan Allen, Tyreek Hill, Nico Collins, Javon Achane, James Conner, Monty, Pitts, Bowers, Coleman. Okay, you have a lot of names here. Very well. What's the question? What do you think of the squad in a PPR? They were doing starter sits, but in regards to the squad, okay, it's Josh Allen with Tyreek Hill, Nico Collins, Achane, Conner, Montgomery, Pitts, Bowers, Coleman. The bench very much so is a upside bench. There's not really much depth there unless they pop. Like Coleman, Dowdle, McCaffrey, Benson, all of them require a huge performance and then subsequently more touches going into the future for them to have sustain value for your team. The starting lineup is a bunch of studs, but as for your bench, you're really just hoping that in the next 4 to 5 weeks prior to bye weeks hitting, they're able to find a role within their offenses and get on the right page. Otherwise, the starting lineup's great, and you'll be enjoying a lot of Miami Dolphins games this season, Neil, considering you're rooting for both Tyreek Hill and Achane to have themselves majority of the touchdowns within that offense. All right. Let's go. Okay, here we go. Let's scroll back down. Here we go. Next question comes in from Colin Smith. Thank you, Colin. Greatly appreciate it. Colin says, in a full PPR scoring format, who do I flex between Brian Thomas Jr., Andre Yoshivas, Raheed Shaheed, almost said it in the wrong order, or Brock Bowers? Of those potential 4 options, Brian Thomas would be number 1, Yoshi would be number 2, Shaheed would be number 3, and Bowers would be number 4 in a full PPR scoring format. So I would suggest that you play BTJ. If in fact we're in a situation in which Chase does not play later today, we get a notification he's saying he is not going to play. At that point in a full PPR, I would feel relatively comfortable making a swap there and playing one over the other. But Brian Thomas should be a great play, especially considering that secondary for the Miami Dolphins. They're going to have a little bit of an injured Jalen Ramsey running around the field today, if in fact he even plays. I know that he said he's going to give it a shot, but there's a chance that Ramsey doesn't play, which makes it that much easier for BTJ to find success, and of course Trevor Lawrence to find success within the matchup. Frank Grillo, what's up? Says the following: James Conner or Terry McLaurin in the flex. Frank, what is your scoring format? That again, guys, please do me a favor, include your scoring format. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm just gonna look it up for both, just so I give you the answer for both half and full PPR at the moment. So as it stands, in a half PPR, I have James Conner ahead of Terry McLaurin, and in a full PPR, I have Terry McLaurin ahead of James Conner. So again, it very much so is dependent of that scoring format. So yeah, as of right now, full PPR full PPR Terry, half PPR Conner. Cool. Thank you, Frank. Appreciate it. Johnny Not Bravo sends in a super chat. Thank you, Johnny. Do I start Mostert or Ayuk in a full PPR? Okay, so Ayuk, there's already a designation that he is going to see like limited overall snaps. That's why I have him ranked where I do. I'd feel just more comfortable rolling out Mostert at that point. There's just probably just there's an easier path to fantasy points by just letting your team just starting Mostert in the given week. At least from my perspective, that's kind of how I see it. I'd rather just have the easy path. If you want to play Ayuk, you certainly can, but my only concern is the limited nature of snaps that he is going to have potentially within the matchup, and the fact that they take on the New York Jets, which I don't love the matchup already, because last season amongst all teams, they allowed the fewest fantasy points per game to opposing wide receivers in terms of receiving statistics, which was about 16 per game on average. So if you take into account the potential of what him and Debo can do, it's definitely limited considering that coverage is elite. All right, moving on from Johnny's question. We have Dame, who sends in the following. Thank you, Dame. Appreciate it. Says, hey, Andrew. Drafted a couple of the stacked teams. Thanks for the rankings. Appreciate you. Full PPR. I'm thinking about starting Kirk over Ford. Kirk and Ford over Ayuk, but I don't feel good about it. What's your opinion? I'm glad that you asked this question right after Johnny Not Bravo, because it makes it an easy transition. In this circumstance, again, Ayuk is going to be limited. They've already said it. He plays on Monday night. I wouldn't even risk the potential of it. The only reason I'm willing to risk like Jamar Chase is because I feel like if Jamar Chase is going to be on the field, really the offense is built to get him the ball. When we talk about the San Francisco offense already, like Jamar Chase averages 11 targets per game last season within the Cincinnati Bengals offense. On the other side, Ayuk averaged 6 targets per game within the San Francisco 49ers offense. And even if you include the NFL playoffs, it's actually less targets per game. So the impact that Jamar Chase can make in comparison to someone like Ayuk, who are both going to be in quote unquote like limited roles, we'll see how that kind of transpires. But I'm 100% in on playing Ford and Kirk ahead of Ayuk. I know you may not feel great about it because again you drafted Ayuk at a higher draft capital, but again he still doesn't have as much practice under his belt. He's probably not in full game kind of form as of yet. So just play the other alternative options you have there. Dame, thank you. Jason sends in a super chat. Thank you, Jason. All right. Jason says in a half PPR, both my leagues, we have Tua versus Kyler. Very well. I would only ever play Tua over Kyler in a 6-point per passing touchdown league. In a 4-point per passing touchdown league, I'll just play Kyler there. As for your follow-up question, I have Hill. Okay, got it. So You have Hill. My opponent has Waddle and Achane. Okay. I mean, look, in terms of the stack, quote unquote, you can go for it. Again, I'm just trying to play the best player overall. I think that is going to be Kyler Murray in this circumstance. So if you want to play Tua, you can. In terms of my overall quarterback versus in terms of my overall quarterback ranking in regards to Kyler versus Tua Tagovailoa, they're not a huge gap in between either of them, but still I do prefer Kyler in this circumstance because of the potential of the rushing upside, the goal line rushing ability, etc. So that would be my suggestion there. As for your other league flex question, McLaurin, Connor, McBride, in a half PPR scoring format, let's look this up right now. I'm pretty sure it's going to be McBride that is going to be the start. Yes, I have McBride over the bunch. So that would be my suggestion in this circumstance here. Thank you very much. Appreciate it, Jason. So again, Kyler is my suggestion along with Trey McBride. So pretty much you're stacking the Arizona Cardinals options there. All right, John Bravo. So wow, there's a Johnny Not Bravo and there's a John Bravo. How about that? Okay. The following question from John Bravo is I don't know what your scoring format is, John, but you put Javonte, DJ Moore, Deontay Johnson. Let's go ahead and let's just try to get you the answer to both of those. So let's see, in a half PPR scoring format accordingly. Let's see where I have them. So again, we're looking for the following players: DJ Moore, Deontay Johnson, and Javonte. So as of right now in a half PPR, it's probably DJ Moore. In a full PPR, I think it's more of the same. It's going to be DJ Moore in both those circumstances. So whatever the scoring format is, half full PPR, I'd roll with DJ Moore there. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Moving on to Logan Semple. Logan, hope you're doing well. Thank you. Says, happy week one, Andrew. Absolutely happy week one. Looking forward to another year of you carrying my fantasy team. Let's hit the like button, folks. Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, if we could, guys. I don't know how many of you guys are in the live chat. Again, about 800 of you. Welcome. If you guys haven't yet already, do me a favor and click the like button down below. Again, to the right side of the screen, to the right side of the screen, updated rankings for each position. Why is it transitioning so damn fast? What's the timer on this thing? Yeah, I have about 15 seconds. Actually, it's not even fast. I'll just reset it back to running back. But yeah, updated rankings as of this morning. So this does not include any of the players who have played already. These are updated rankings for this morning and going into this upcoming weekend. So we'll have to wait and see. Now, in regards to the potential of the player that's about to show up right here, Jamar Chase, we're going to have to wait and see in the next couple hours whether or not he plays. If he does, typically you'd try to have your best players in your lineup. As to what kind of limited nature, again, we're waiting on the reports as they kind of roll through. But the updated rankings are to the right side of the screen. If you have any questions in regards to which players, hopefully this can give you the answer without me having to directly answering all 800 of you in the live chat. But if you do have a question regarding a flex, something of that nature, go ahead and type it in the chat and or send it via super chat, because again, that claims the overall priority in regards to the questions being answered. Or you can go ahead and check out Underdog Fantasy or my Patreon, where you can get the rankings there for Sunday morning. Thank you. Okay, let's see here. In regards to Logan's question, Logan says the following: standard scoring format at the flex, running back is Ford, wide receiver Diggs, wide receiver Palmer, or running back Pollard. In a standard scoring format, 0 points per reception, I'm probably playing Jerome Ford there out of the bunch. Diggs would probably be relatively close, but in terms of touchdown potential, volume of overall touches that is going to be implemented within the Ford's kind of baseline of production, I just feel more comfortable playing the running back in this circumstance. So I'll lean towards Ford. Diggs would be the close second, but yeah, I'll take Jerome Ford there this week. Thank you. Nathan J sends in a super chat, says, happy game day, Andrew. Pick 2 running backs to start between the following in a full PPR. We have Javonte Williams, Chase Brown, McLaughlin, and Spears. In a full PPR, let's go and find it real quick. Running back rankings, scroll over. So as it stands, considering you have Javonte, okay, so Javonte gets the start. As for Chase Brown, McLaughlin, and Spears, I have Spears ranked the highest of the rest in a full PPR. So it would be Spears and Javonte. Thank you, Nathan. Donnie Fiji sends in a super chat, says, flex Ayuk, David Montgomery, or Christian Kirk. I'm pretty sure it's David Montgomery across the board. Let me check in a full PPR where I have David Montgomery in comparison to Christian Kirk. Okay, so I'm looking at it right now. In a half PPR scoring format, Donnie, Fiji, I don't know, you didn't mention your scoring format, but in a half PPR, it would be David Montgomery. Sorry, yeah, half PPR, David Montgomery. In a full PPR, I still have it as David Montgomery. Montgomery is literally one spot ahead, 42 compared to 43 in my flex rankings full PPR. So Montgomery's the answer in both overall scenarios. Again, not sure what your scoring format is, but hopefully that answers the question for you. Thank you. Okay. Moving on. Deli Meat sends in a question. Says, in a full PPR, I need one wide receiver and one flex. Very well. Tank, Keenan Allen, and Mostert in a full PPR. Very well. Let's go find the Mostert. Where the heck is Mostert in comparison to the bunch? So in comparison to both of them, I have Tank Dell and I have Keenan Allen ahead. So that would be the place. In a full PPR, I'll take Tank and I'll take Keenan Allen. Thank you. Michael Tronsky? I'm going to say Michael Tron. How about that? Until further notice. Michael Tron says, in the flex, in a half PPR scoring format, would I play Dell or Mostert? In a half PPR, I would play Mostert there. And considering you also have Achane, I think it's probably in your best interest. Very similar to, for those of us who have Montgomery and Gibbs, likelihood is you probably should be playing both of them this week, guys. So if in fact you have Mostert and Achane, Gibbs and Montgomery, you should start both those backs in order to make sure that you're obtaining all of the value within the backfield itself. And because both of them individually are great options to play. But yeah, in a half PPR, I'll take Mostert there. Michael Tron, thank you. Appreciate it. Shane sends in a super chat. Thank you, Shane. Appreciate it. Shane says, in a full PPR, flex, pick 2, Shakir, JSN, or Javonte Williams. Okay, let's see here. Pick 2 between Shakir, JSN, and Javonte. Very well. Let's go find the full PPR rankings as such. So Shakir, accordingly, is there. JSN is ahead of Shakir. So the question is Shakir ahead of Javonte. Where the heck is Javonte Williams in comparison? Javonte Williams is effectively ahead. So Javonte Williams and JSN will be my suggestion for this week. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Again, reminder, okay? The rankings over here, updated as of this morning. Hopefully, it's not going too fast. Again, if in fact it is perhaps going too fast for you, you can always pause once it gets there. And then once you've figured out the rankings and it can potentially adjust your lineup for you, then you can just resume and kind of fast forward to the live stream and catch up. But again, these are updated as of this morning. If that helps you, fantastic. If it doesn't and you want full expansive rankings in regards to half PPR, full PPR at all positions, by tier, you can check out the Patreon. There's a link down in the description. I posted the rankings this morning in regards to all of that. So if you're interested in getting the full expansive rankings, you can pledge your support there. Greatly appreciate that. Thank you. All right, let's see here. The next question, I have a question that came in from our Patreon user here. What does it say? Would you recommend I drop, Chubb from my IR and add Trey Benson and Jalen Wright, or stay put with Chubb in the IR? If he's... Is he in your IR roster spot? That's really the question. If he's not, then you can drop him accordingly. Okay, moving on. We had the next question that came in from Shane. We already took care of Shane. Thank you again, Shane. Appreciate it. Next, the 806 sends in a super chat. Says, thinking about Baker over Trevor Lawrence today. Thoughts? You could. Again, the appeal of Trevor Lawrence revolves around the fact that they're going to be in a higher scoring matchup between these two teams. And then additionally, on top of that, there is the potential of his rushing ability playing a factor for fantasy purposes. So the way that I see it, I think there is more upside in the potential play of Trevor Lawrence comparatively. But it's not to say that Baker Mayfield's not capable of having himself 250 passing yards, 2 passing touchdowns against that secondary of the Washington Commanders that, again, doesn't have great cornerbacks. And of course, Baker Mayfield has all of these weapons at his disposal. There's a reason why I have guys like Mike Evans and Chris Godwin so highly ranked. Rachaad White, they're all highly ranked within their own individual positions. And I think, honestly, I've got Baker Mayfield pretty far up there. But in comparison to Trevor Lawrence and his potential, that rushing upside really does in a 4-point per passing touchdown league just notch him over in my mind. But if you want to play Baker, I got no issue with it. Thank you, Nexty. Shane Howard sends in a super chat. Thank you, Shane. Says, hey, Andrew, in a full PPR, would you play the following in the flex? ETN, London, or Cooper? Yeah, I'd have to play ETN there. I don't think I'm... Yeah, it would be against my belief system to not play ETN in this circumstance. Amari Cooper's a solid play. Drake London's a better play. But between Drake London and ETN, in both half full PPR, standard, doesn't matter. I'm playing ETN over Drake London. I think he has higher upside. I think he has a safer floor of production. And considering he is the starting running back of a team that's going to be in a potential shootout of sorts, and he is getting a lot of receiving upside within this game, yeah, his foundation, his baseline of production is so high, I can't miss out on that potential. And he also has potentially higher upside. So I would certainly lean in the direction of ETN there. Thank you for the question. Appreciate it. All right, moving on to a question that came in from Bale Kim. Bale, hope you're doing well. Bale says, hope you've been well, Andrew. I have. Thank you. Appreciate it. Again, listen, the closer we get to Sunday football, the better. I'm beginning to feel, as soon as the season kind of arrives here, and I can hear Scott Hansen talk about 8 hours of commercial-free red zone football, everything will be at peace. We will finally be at our happiest. It is Christmas today, pretty much. I'm opening up my presents at 10 a.m. Now, some of those presents I might open up and I got some socks because some players aren't playing or some players just don't play well today. But hey, there are also some nice pairs of socks out there that could put up some good points. We'll see. All right. Bale's question is, in a full PPR, 2 flex options. I just traded away Ayuk and Waddle for Devontae Adams and Neighbors. Full thoughts. I can't say I love the trade. Honestly, I don't. I think Ayuk and Devontae Adams are relatively close in terms of my rankings. And I have Waddle pretty far ahead of Neighbors in comparison. So I don't think the difference between Devontae and Ayuk is enough to where I'm comfortable with the alternative downgrade. So I would have preferred if you kept Ayuk and Waddle for the future. But hey, what has happened has happened. Let's just hope for the best and hope that Devontae Adams and Neighbors can cook. As for the rest of your question, it's just the context of your wide receiver 1 and your wide receiver 2 are already DK Metcalf and Amon-Ra. I mean, look, again, you have studs across the board. Would I have preferred the what you originally had in comparison to the latter? Sure, but hey, it is what it is. Thank you again for the super chat, Bale. Ryan Tank sends in a super chat. Thank you, Ryan. Ryan says the following: in a 12-team half PPR league, do I drop Rico Dowdle or McLaughlin for Stafford? Starting Burrow, but I'm not super confident. Okay, got it. Or would you just roll with Burrow? In this circumstance, I would probably drop Jaleel McLaughlin. If it was a full PPR, I'd feel a lot more confident on the potential of keeping him on roster. If I was in your circumstance, I would drop Jaleel McLaughlin because I still want to see what Dowdle's capable of doing, maybe perhaps even winning that backfield. In comparison, Jaleel McLaughlin, I don't expect him to supplant Javonte unless an injury is to occur. So in the case of Dowdle, I'd like to keep him on roster, see how he produces this week. And yes, I would pick up Stafford and I would play him at quarterback today. Again, the highest scoring matchup implicated based on Vegas total points going into the week. Stafford should have himself a great game once again against the secondary. In the playoffs, threw for 387 passing yards, 2 passing touchdowns against Detroit. It's his former team. It's week 1. Sean McVay's probably cooking up a couple big plays here. So yeah, I'd lean towards the Stafford over Joe Burrow approach. Thank you, Ryan. Appreciate it. Jackson Helm sends in a super chat. Thank you, Jackson. Jackson says, in a PPR league, I drafted Bijan Robinson, Drake London, and Kyle Pitts. Very well. Should I play all 3? I mean, you kind of have to. When you made the decisions to select those players, you made the active choice that, hey, whatever happens in the future, I've decided that this is going to dictate what happens going forward. So in this approach, yes, I'm comfortable starting all 3. The alternative option you have would be sitting London and playing DJ Moore? No, I'd much rather play Drake London. Obviously, your fate is tied to Kirk Cousins and this offense and how they perform against Pittsburgh. But I mean, even if they weren't all on one roster, I'd still feel very comfortable playing all 3 of them. Just because they're on one team, sure, you're very dependent on what happens in this game, but I don't think that should discourage you from being excited about their potential. I think they could all find themselves success within the given week. I mean, at this point, you're pretty much all in on the Falcons. Might as well start Kirk Cousins. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, I think you're fine starting all three. Thank you. Nathan24 sends in a super chat. Says, thoughts on Kelsey's on Thursday? Drop Fab on likely? I mean, yes, you could drop Fab on likely, but Kelsey's probably going to still be highly ranked. Like, what you'll begin to realize is I'm not losing hope on Travis Kelce or Mark Andrews. They're still going to be in the top 12. Are they going to be potential lesser options as we approach? At times, depending on matchup, they may be. But going forward in this circumstance, you could pick up likely and potentially utilize him by starting him, or you could potentially trade him away to the Mark Andrews manager, who's probably going to also try to go after him. But yeah, in this circumstance, I'm leaning towards, yeah, you should be fine with Kelce. Just give it some time. Again, a lot of players in week one are not going to put up the greatest performances. Don't let that discourage you on their potential for the rest of the season. It's a marathon. It's only week one. We got 16 more weeks after such to be able to get back on track and get to a championship, right? Thank you. Let's see here. We move on to Dave Curtis, who says the following. Flex, Keenan Allen or Devin Singletary in a full PPR? I believe I have, let's see here. Keenan Allen is there. I do have him ahead of Devin Singletary in a full PPR scoring format, so I would play Keenan Allen in this circumstance. Thank you. Cinco2X sends in a super chat, says in a full PPR, JMO or Stevenson? Yeah, it's for sure going to be Ramondre Stevenson there, without a doubt. And then your follow-up says, in order, how would you play these guys? Okay, and then so second question. So first and foremost, again, I'll play Ramondre over JMO in a full PPR. Your second question, Deontay Johnson, Josh Palmer, and Brian Thomas Jr. In a full PPR, amongst the three, let's go ahead and let's go to my rankings. I have Deontay number 1. I have Palmer number 2. I have Brian Thomas Jr. number 3 in that order. So Deontay would be my suggestion going up against the New Orleans Saints secondary today. Thank you again for the question, Cinco. Appreciate it. All right. Anthony Carmen sends in a question. Thank you very much, Anthony. The question is the following. Let's scroll back up here. He says, in a PPR scoring format, pick one: Shaheed, Myers, Yoshibas, Spears, or Coleman. In a full PPR, it's probably Yoshibas. Yeah, it is Yoshibas. Out of all 5 of those, I'll play the slot receiving option of the Cincinnati Bengals. Thank you. Appreciate it. All right, let's scroll down here a second. We get to Bob Francis' question. Thank you, Bob. Appreciate it. Okay, before we go ahead and answer Bob's question, again, for those of you who are just joining us this morning, welcome, good morning. Hope you guys are doing well. Over the course of the next couple hours here, again, we are answering any and all potential questions in regards to fantasy football. Now, what you'll see to the right side of the screen is a rolling list of potential rankings that I've updated as of this morning. So these are my updated top 36 running backs that include only players that are yet to remain to play. So it does not include anybody who played in Thursday or Friday's games. Again, this will then transition to wide receivers, quarterbacks, tight ends, kickers, and defenses. If you want my full expensive rankings, you can check out the Patreon, but otherwise, hopefully this will suffice. Otherwise, if you have a question, type it in the live chat. Either myself or somebody that's in the live chat will answer it and try to help you. But if you want priority in terms of answering questions, the super chat is probably the best way to do it on a Sunday morning. Thank you. Okay. Getting to Bob Francis' question. Asks the following. What's up, Andrew? In a full PPR, 12-man league, I'm starting Murray, Saquon, Connor, Kupp, Marvin Harrison Jr., along with Bowers, Reed, and Pittman. My bench consists of Stafford, Benson, and Worthy. Let me know if I should who I should target in terms of trades. Trades we'll have to wait and see. I would say give that a couple. I mean, look, in terms of your lineup this week, Murray, Saquon, Connor. What do you have on your bench? Okay, so you don't have any other running back depth on your bench. You're fine. Okay, so in terms of your starting lineup, you're good to go. But as for trades going forward, really the only thing I see that is a glaring potential for issue is Brock Bowers. If he's not able to be a consistent option on a weekly basis, we might want to look elsewhere. So in terms of trades, you might want to look for players who do not perform well in the first couple weeks and then try to go after them in regards to, being able to steal them when a fantasy manager is kind of falling apart in regards to that. And they're thinking, oh man, the world is ending. Travis Kelce didn't play well. how can I start him every week? At that point, that you can go after him and trade for him. So that would be my suggestion there. I did see someone in the chat say, why is Rashee Rice not in the top 36? Because Rashee Rice already played. Again, I'm giving you rankings for players who haven't played already, because if I was to put players who have already played, it would just give you less rankings. So why would I give you less rankings, right? That's the whole point. Jamel Joyner sends in a super chat. Jamel, hope you're doing well. Long time no see. Says, in a half PPR scoring format, I need one flex out of Ridley, BTJ, Zach Moss, and Taysom Hill. All right, between the two, I mean, I think it's either Ridley or Zach Moss. Let me check where I have Moss in comparison to Ridley in a half PPR. Let's see here. Let's look up Zach Moss. Okay, so as it currently stands, I have Zach Moss ahead of the rest of the bunch. That's who I would play in this circumstance. Zach Moss, Ridley second, BTJ third, and then Taysom Hill fourth. Thank you, Jamel. Appreciate it. All right, let's see here. I'm on another level. That's a good name, actually. I'm on another level. Sends in the following question. Says, do I start Kyler Murray or Justin Fields? I prefer to play Kyler Murray. Again, the offense that surrounds him, I think significantly better in terms of weapons. Additionally, I trust that Kyler, with all the practice that he has had as the primary number one quarterback, more of a rapport with his receiving targets, in a matchup in which they'll be in a negative game script for the entirety of the matchup, most likely in Buffalo, in a game which Buffalo is expected to win by what? I think they're 6-point favorites, and the implication is that Buffalo puts a 30 bomb on their defense. So the expectation is that a lot of the second half will be Kyler Murray with his short legs running around, finding a lot of rushing yardage and a lot of potential, fantasy upside in regards to all the passing attempts that he's going to accrue in that second half. So I do prefer Kyler. It's not to say that Justin Fields isn't a good play. I have him ranked in my top 10 quarterbacks of the remaining that are here. But as it currently stands, yes, I do prefer Kyler Murray. Thank you. Moving on. Crypt Keeper sends in a super chat. Says, it's a full PPR, 40-yard bonus point. Okay, very well. Pick one, Connor, Swift, Kirk, Shakir. Okay, so it's between Swift and Kirk. And let's go ahead and let's look this up. Christian Kirk in comparison to DeAndre Swift. Where's Swift in comparison? Let's scroll over here. Where is Swift? I have Christian Kirk ahead of the bunch. Christian Kirk is 4 spots ahead of DeAndre Swift. That's the closest of the bunch. Otherwise, Connor and Shakir don't really hold a candle to either of them in terms of the full PPR circumstance. So I'd play Christian Kirk there. Swift number 2, Connor 3, Shakir 4, most likely in a full PPR. The bonus 40-yard points or 40-yard bonus doesn't really exist for any of these options. Shakir's kind of his average depth of target isn't great, especially last season. Christian Kirk's kind of in the same spot considering he's a slot receiving option. Connor, Swift, they could have breakout ability in terms of taking a ball to the house. It's just not as likely. So I'm leaning towards playing Christian Kirk there. Crypt Keeper, thank you. Appreciate it. Okay, let's see here. Let's go ahead and let's update the live stream chat so I can find all of the super chats sent in. Again, if you guys are going to send in a question, do me a favor and include scoring format. I know that Bullyface just sent in one. I don't see a scoring format, but I'll just go ahead and I'll answer it for both regardless. Thank you. All right, let's see here. Julian sends in a super chat. Says, rank my team. Kyler Murray, Breece Hall, Kenneth Walker, Cooper Kupp, Ayuk, Ridley, McBride, Ford. 3 wide receiver, 12 team, half PPR. 3 wide receiver with Kupp, Ayuk, Ridley, Breece Hall, and Walker as your 1-2. I'd have loved maybe one more. Well, I mean, considering you didn't take a discount as your RB2, you went and got Walker. That's fine. I like the McBride and Murray stack. I'd have loved a better third wide receiver than Calvin Ridley. But as the season progresses, if I'm thinking of AFC South quarterbacks, Calvin Ridley, I'm thinking Trevor Lawrence. As the weeks go on, I'll begin to say Will Levis more often. If Will Levis produces to a far greater capacity than what we anticipate, and he can at least sustain the support of 2 fantasy wide receivers in the form of Calvin Ridley and DeAndre Hopkins, then Ridley will be fine as a wide receiver 3, but I'd have loved another wide receiver there, potentially, but I don't know what's on your bench. Otherwise, your starting lineup looks pretty solid. Thank you, Julian. Okay, Mr. Noodle sends in a super chat. Says, if Chase does not play, very well, do I play Dowdle, Gabe Davis, Mooney, or do I drop Mooney for Burton? In this circumstance, let me check. Because I have... What's the scoring format, by the way? If he doesn't play... Okay, there's no scoring format implicated. So let me just answer it for both here. So in the position in which he doesn't play, let's see, where do I have... I'd still play Darnell Mooney. In comparison to Burton, yes, I'd still play Darnell Mooney. But if you had Yoshivas available or Trenton Irwin, I'd play both those ahead of Jermaine Burton. So that would be my suggestion. One of those other two Cincinnati Bengals wide receivers, under the assumption that potentially Jamar does not play, if that does take place, at that point, I would then just pivot to one of those two options ahead of Mooney. Otherwise, Mooney's the answer. Let's see here. A report 22 minutes ago, as of Tom Pelissero of the NFL Network, says that Ezekiel Elliott and Rico Dowdle will split carries in week 1. That was expected. Dalvin Cook not expected to play. Dalvin Cook's on the practice squad practically at this point. So we'll see how this backfield split of Ezekiel Elliott and Rico Dowdle transpires over the course of today. I mean, it's going to be pretty similar to what, of course, the Los Angeles Chargers backfield kind of looks like. Potentially even the Cincinnati Bengals backfield. Potential split touches. We'll have to wait and see, though. All right, let's see here. Next question is from a follow-up from Cinco2X, who says the following. So, we on the same page in terms of J-Mo versus Javonte Williams? Oh, we're on the same page? No. So, okay. We're not on the same page, Cinco. J-Mo is Jamison Williams. Okay? Hold up. Javonte Williams is just Javonte. Okay? So, if you're going to send in a question that has an abbreviated name, expect me to approach with my understanding of that abbreviation. So, in your circumstance, Cinco, with your prior question, J-Mo or Stevenson full PPR, if you're implying that J-Mo is Javonte Williams, I would play Javonte Williams ahead of Ramondre in a full PPR. Now that answers your question. Thank you, Cinco, for the clarification. All right, moving on. Bacon sends in a question. Thank you, Bacon. Says, in a full PPR flex, Moss or Deontay? It's Deontay Johnson this week. Thank you. Appreciate it. Moving on to Donahue Brown. Donahue, hope you're doing well. Says, in a full PPR, Amari Cooper, DeAndre Hopkins, Curtis Samuel, or Ramondre Stevenson? Amari Cooper, DeAndre Hopkins. Okay, yeah, out of the bunch, it's Amari Cooper. Let me see where he is in comparison to Ramondre according to the rankings. Yeah, he is relatively ahead of him in a full PPR. So Amari Cooper would be the answer in this circumstance. I'm hoping that Amari has a great week. I mean, again, last season in the 5 healthy games that Amari Cooper played with Deshaun Watson, he was averaging 14.7 fantasy points per game in a half PPR, even obviously more points in a full PPR. But in this circumstance, we're just hoping that he continues his success. And at least, regardless of quarterback, is able to find himself a pretty solid week, which again, that is the expectation going up against this defense. Okay. Thank you again for the question, Donahue. We move on to the next question. Before I do, again, updated rankings are right here. If you guys are joining us today, again, welcome. Hope you guys are doing well. This is the Christmas of the 2024 fantasy football season. This is the first week. Hope you guys are doing well. If you haven't yet already, do me a favor, click the like button down below. It helps support the channel, continues to help grow the channel, so I can provide these rankings to you guys every single week in the form of videos, and of course, this live stream every single Sunday morning. Greatly appreciate that. Thank you. If you guys want my full expansive rankings, you can check out the description of the video down there while you're clicking the like button and doing me a solid in that regard. There is the Patreon if you would like all those rankings available right now, or if you'd like rankings sent to you every single Sunday morning for the remainder of the season, all you got to do is check out Underdog Fantasy, sign up today using code Andrew, make a first-time deposit minimum of $10. You'll be good to go. As I get closer to the probably I want to say at 8 a.m., I will, so about 17 minutes from now, I'll share my favorite Underdog picks of the week. And then if you guys want to follow, potentially tail, or go elsewhere, you can go ahead. Thank you. All right, continuing on. After Donahue, we had a question that came in from Gio Ortiz. Gio, thank you. Says Deontay Johnson or JSN in the flex full PPR. I'll play Deontay Johnson there. Tyler Lockett is going to play. He'll probably be at a more limited role considering he's still coming off of an injury. So JSN will be great, but I do prefer Deontay Johnson as the clear number one of his offense and the matchup. As for the Christian McCaffrey thoughts, as your second question, I expect him to play. We're firing him up. But again, if you have Christian McCaffrey on your team, you should have already drafted Jordan Mason in your draft to protect and ensure your obviously 1.01 investment. as it currently stands, he did say on Friday, I'm going to play in a press conference. He said, I'll play. Like, don't even worry. He has been limited, but again, I think it's just a precautionary measure just to make sure that no setbacks occur prior to the game and that they're continuing to get him treatment with the medical team in regards to the team and get him on the right track for Monday night. So I'm not really worried about Christian McCaffrey. Thank you. Bullyface says Christian Kirk or Terry McLaurin. So let's go ahead and let's look this up. As it currently stands, I'll take Terry McLaurin in both formats, half or full PPR. Even in standard format, I think I'll take Terry McLaurin there this week. Thank you. Alrighty, that is taken care of. We move on. Let's go ahead and let's refresh this. We're good to go. All right, beautiful. So next question comes in from Shake, who says, Andrew, you're the man. Shake, did you have any question in regards to this week? If nothing, then thank you. Appreciate it. We're good to go. Corrupt in the chat says, good morning. Salutations. I signed up to Patreon. How do I get access to the private Discord? Do me a favor and send me a direct message on Patreon. Send me a direct message that includes your username for Discord, and I'll send you a friend request, and then I'll go ahead and get you added to the private Discord server. Thank you, Corrupt. Appreciate it. Okay, let's see here. Yeah, okay. Robert P. in the live chat does make a great point. Guys, if you have T. Higgins on roster, be sure that prior to the game, once he is designated as out, no longer doubtful, once he is designated as out, please put him on your injured reserve roster spot. Then subsequently go pick up another player off of the waiver wire that could be a potential guy that has himself a great performance. The name that I mentioned yesterday in terms of guys that I'd like to pick up that we talked about a little while over the course of the last two live streams was Luke McCaffrey of the Washington Commanders. So if T. Higgins is out, you can go and, even if you want, maybe you can drop T. Higgins and go pick up Andre Yoshivas. Not drop T. Higgins. Move T. Higgins to the IR, pick up Andre Yoshivas, put him on your roster, or go pick up other guys that could have bigger performances and then be of value so you don't have to hit the waiver wire trying to pick them up after week one has already transpired. Thank you. All right, let's see here. What is this question? It comes in from Natty, who says, Shakira and Johnson are definitely up in the air. Let's see here. What is your question exactly? So let's see your team. What do you have here? I don't know what exactly your question is here, Natty, but I'm just going to keep it moving. If you have a specific question on hand, you let me know. Oh, okay, let's see here. So yeah, I said, okay, yeah, that's what it was. So you sent the roster. So in this case, you have Burrow, Robinson, Kamara, Nakua, Shakira as your wide receiver two. Now I get it. Okay, Godwin, Ayuk, very well. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I mean, I think at this point, it's Deontay is probably ahead of Shakir. That's probably in the direction I lean in. That works too. Okay, moving on. Let's get back to answering some of these questions that were sent in. So after Shake, again, if you don't have anything in the live chat, then I'm just going to move on. I'm going to search with a search function here. Yeah, nothing. Thank you, Shake. Appreciate it. All right, we had a question that came in from Phil. Phil says, Evans or Olave? I would much rather play Evans this week. My quarterbacks gain a point per yards. It's a 6 point per passing touchdown league as well. I had Jalen Hurts. My wide receivers gain point per yards and receptions, and it's 6 point per touchdown. P.S. I don't like the format. Again, it's Mike Evans. Yeah, I'll take Mike Evans every time against Olave this week, specifically with just how great Mike Evans is. And, of course, the matchup against the Washington Commanders. We love that. Okay, thank you very much, Phil. Appreciate it. Mark Marr says, Achane or Kenneth Walker in a full PPR? Yeah, I'm very comfortable playing Achane there. Guys, if you drafted Achane, you got to play him. You really have to play him. You made the investment. do not bail out now. Now, in this case, Mark, the fact that you have Kenneth Walker and you can't play him does make me sick to my stomach, but it is it is what it is. You just got too good of a team. That's the blessing and the curse that you will now have to deal with for the remainder of the season. But yes, I would play HN there. Thank you. Carlos sends in a super chat. Thank you, Carlos. Appreciate it. Carlos says the following. Full PPR, wide receiver. Who do I bench between Keenan Allen, Jordan Addison, Deontay Johnson? Between the three, I'm probably benching Jordan Addison. Mainly because I kind of want to see what the capabilities of mainly Sam Darnold is before I go out and trust it. The way I see it, in comparison to the other two alternative options, Deontay Johnson's the number one of his offense. And Keenan Allen may, in fact, get the most targets amongst all the Chicago Bears receivers today because of the matchup that DJ Moore has on the outside against Snead. So in this circumstance, I'd rather just play those other two alternative options in comparison to Addison. So that's the bench kind of spot that I'd leave him in. Now, it's not to say that Addison's not going to play well. In terms of my rankings, just so that we're all on the same page in terms of context, I have Addison in a half PPR as my number 38. So on the screen to the right side of the screen, right, where we have rankings. Let's do this. Well, actually, it's going to rotate around. So when it pops up here, 36, if I'm not mistaken, which it should be in a half PPR, 36 is going to be Cortland Sutton. 37 is DeAndre Hopkins, and 38 is Jordan Addison. So he's relatively close to being in this, like top 40 combo. He is in the top 40 of the remaining wide receivers again. Not to say that he's not going to play well, but in comparison, I'd rather just play the alternative options that you have available there. Thank you. Appreciate it. Okay, moving on. We had a question that came in from, thank you again, Carlos. Appreciate it. Oh, also he said, I have Debo on my starting lineup. Got it. Yeah, again, I played Deontay and Keenan. Flotation Swag sends in a super chat. Thank you, Flotation. Says Cowboys defense or 49ers? Yeah, again, appreciate it. The rankings do rotate over here. I do have the 49ers ahead of the Cowboys. I do have them both ranked within the top 12 of the remaining defenses that we could potentially start going into the given week. As this transitions to defensive rankings, I will give you a little bit of context as to why I kind of have set it up as such. But as it stands, again, we have San Francisco at 7 and Dallas at 11. Cincinnati, Seattle, again, those are two teams that typically just based on this week have great matchups. Cleveland, Buffalo, they're, kind of weekly starts. Saints and Vikings, again, those are teams that just based on matchup alone, because the Saints take on the Carolina Panthers, I can trust them. Because Minnesota takes on Daniel Jones, I can trust them. That's how they've kind of garnered their ranking. But between those two that you've mentioned, I'll take the 49ers. Okay, let's see here. Any updates? A couple in the last couple minutes. Jamar Chase is warming up on the field. So yeah, he's going to play as expected. Moving on, there's another report. What is this one? Tyreek Hill was detailed by the police. What the heck is this? Okay, whatever. He's going to play. I'm not even... Okay, whatever. That's irrelevant news to me. Jamar Chase is going to play. Anyway, continuing on. We had another question sent in. So we took care of flotation. I'll take the 49ers defense. Jesse Aldridge. There wasn't anything attached to your super chat. So let me see if I can go find it, Jesse. I'm going to control F function and see if I can find it. Aldridge. Good morning. It says rate my team. And then it says Josh Allen, and then there was nothing else after that, Jesse. So if you can do me a favor and just type in the live chat, I'll try to get to your question as quickly as I can. Thank you again, Jesse. Appreciate it. Oh, I got it. Josh Allen, Kenneth Walker, Rashad White, CeeDee Lamb, Marvin Harrison Jr., Garrett Wilson, David Montgomery. I mean, Jesse, you don't need me to tell you it's a great team. You and I both know it's a great team. Josh Allen's the best quarterback on the board. Sure, your running backs are discounted players per se, but you're still getting two top 15 options at running back who can outproduce their ADPs, Kenneth Walker and Rashad White. Then you manage to go ahead and get guys like CeeDee Lamb, Marvin Harrison Jr., Garrett Wilson at wide receiver, which if this is a 3 wide receiver starting league, incredible. And then you still have David Montgomery as your flex, which, again, every week these are going to be the highest ranked players, and you'll probably never change this lineup until an injury and or potentially the bye weeks. That's it. Pretty good looking team. Somebody in the chat said DUI, Hill in handcuffs. Tyreek Hill did get arrested. What do you mean? Is he not playing? What do you mean he got arrested? Tyreek's agent said he'll be good? Yeah, I'm assuming he'll be good. If they got to go down and bail him out before the game starts, we've got time. I don't know what's happening. Oh, man. Okay, anyway, you guys speculate on that. I will wait, and we'll figure that out in a second. Just want to catch up on some of these questions. Corey, Yom Corey sends in a question. Says, half PPR. With Higgins doubtful, should I play Jordan Addison or Brian Thomas Jr. as my second wide receiver? Barkley already got me 32 points, so I'm okay with the higher floor. I think they both have relatively close floors/ceilings. I do prefer Brian Thomas. I do prefer the matchup. Is he the lesser experienced player? Sure, but I would like to play Brian Thomas in this circumstance. Yom Corey, thank you. Appreciate it. Okay, that is taken care of. Moving on. We had a question that came in from Carts Network, who says, half PPR. Should I start David Montgomery or Nico Collins? I have Gibbs. That makes it a lot trickier than just a normal question answer. Because in a half PPR, I would rather play Nico Collins. But considering you have, okay. So here's the deal. Typically, like I said earlier, I'd like to play Gibbs and Montgomery, HN and Mostert. If you have them on roster, play them both, right? So you can 100% guarantee the value of the backfield. But considering I have Nico Collins so much higher than David Montgomery in my flex rankings in a half PPR, at that point, I'm just going to tell you to play Nico Collins and just hope for the best and hope that David Montgomery doesn't yoink any touchdowns and hope it's a Gibbs game, you know? All right, so let me see what you guys are saying in the chat. Tyreek Hill's arrested, sent to prison. Okay, all right, good one. What is this deal? Let's go look this up. Let me go to Twitter real quick. Let me see what the heck this. Where are we at here? Detailed by police today for what his agent Drew Rosenhaus says it's a traffic violation. He plans to play today. He plans to play or he will play. Okay. All right. All right. We'll leave it at that. We'll figure it out. I don't know what's happening. Interesting. Well, he actually got arrested, says Jack in the chat. That actually, so does Seacrypt, says he's detained right now, not arrested. Okay, so basically, all I'm seeing from the chat is speculation. I'm not going to speculate. I got to answer questions. Thank you very much, guys. Okay, moving on. We had a question that came in from Count Butt. Thank you very much. Very generous super chat. Again, you could take that super chat, go to Patreon, and get the rankings for the entire month, right? Like if that's the alternative option there. But I do appreciate the super chat. So let's answer your question. The other day, I asked between Godwin and DJ Moore in a PPR. You said you would go with Godwin. What exactly is the reason for picking Godwin over DJ Moore? Also helped me win my league last year. Thanks. Okay, pretty simple in my mind. DJ Moore has a really difficult matchup against the secondary of the Tennessee Titans. I mentioned this in the Tuesday wide receiver video in regards to Tennessee's secondary getting a pretty big overhaul in terms of, cornerbacks. Specifically, went ahead and traded for former Kansas City cornerback Snead. He locked up a lot of wide receiver ones last season. A lot. On a consistent basis, in fact. Then the Tennessee Titans went out this offseason and they made their new defensive coordinator, the former defensive backs coach for the Baltimore Ravens. So this team is very much so in tune with pretty much just having a perfect team set up to cover the pass. And with Snead most likely shadowing the production of what DJ Moore is going to produce, it's not to say that DJ Moore is a completely, useless play today. He has still got his own talent. He's still got his own efforts, and he's definitely going to be able to compete. But in comparison to Godwin, who takes on the Washington Commanders secondary, whose secondary specifically, again, like I mentioned earlier, two of their starting cornerbacks gave up top 20 receiving yards to opposing wide receivers last season. So again, their secondary is in shambles. Amongst all teams last season, they gave up the most fantasy points per game to opposing wide receivers in terms of receiving statistics isolated on a per game average, 36 per game. So there's a lot of utilization out of Evans, out of Godwin, even McMillan today, that is going to lead to fantasy points. And considering Godwin has moved back into the slot position, and if I'm not mistaken, let me go ahead and corroborate this with the current depth chart of the Washington Commanders. I believe their starting slot corner, their nickel, is going to be a rookie. And I can confirm, he's a rookie. I mean, this just makes it's going to be a pretty good day for Chris Godwin. Let's just put it that way. Thank you very much for the question, Count Butt. Appreciate it. All right, that's taken care of. Moving on. We had a question that came in from Colin Smith. Thank you, Colin. Greatly appreciate it. Colin says in a half PPR, start 2, Adunze, Yoshi, Lad McConkey, or Dowdle. Don't really want to start Dowdle in comparison to either of the options. So if it's between those available, I'm probably leaning in the direction of playing Yoshi and Adunze. Lad McConkey, I'm considering the potential of it. It is close between him and Adunze. I think I have them almost back-to-back in my rankings. Yeah, I quite literally have them back-to-back. But I have Rome Adunze ahead of him. The reason why I have them relatively close is because DJ Chark is out this week for the Los Angeles Chargers. He's one of the major injuries that we logged in terms of the injury report this week. But that will probably lead to more Quentin Johnston rather than more looks for Lad McConkey, even though I want it to be Lad McConkey on the field. I don't know if that'll transpire. We can just cross our fingers and hope. But in this circumstance, yeah, if I was in your position, of the available options you have here. Wait, where do I have Yoshi? No, you're playing Adunze and Lad. Yeah, you're not going to play Yoshi. If Jamar Chase is playing, you're not playing Yoshi. So in this circumstance, Colin, Adunze and Lad McConkey. Thank you for your question. Appreciate it. JT sends in a super chat. Thanks, JT. Says in a 10-team half PPR, my quarterback is Jordan Love / Justin Fields. Wide receivers are Lamb, Waddle, Devontae, Lad McConkey, Brian Thomas Jr. My running backs are Jacobs, Walker, Achane, Mostert, and Brooks. My tight end is Evan Ingram. What do you think? I mean, at this point, you have to hope that Justin Fields is going to start for the next couple weeks in order to obviously deal with the Jordan Love injury. Jacobs takes a little bit of a hit in the meanwhile, but again, you have Achane and Walker and Mostert, so I don't even think that you're going to have... You're not going to feel it as much because, again, you are in a 10-team league, JT, and you've built a pretty strong team. Lamb, Waddle, Devontae, Achane, Mostert, Jacobs, Walker, Evan Ingram. You've built a strong enough team, and you have a backup quarterback that hopefully, in this case, Fields will play for the next couple weeks. If, in fact, he doesn't, again, you can pivot. You can play someone like Geno Smith next week, or in the coming weeks, Baker Mayfield, etc. Maybe they're available in your league. Deshaun Watson's. We'll have to wait and see. But in the 10-team league, I'd assume that there's another quarterback available out there in the absence of Jordan Love if Fields is out. But yeah, in your circumstance, you've built a pretty strong team there across the board with great depth. Thank you, JT. Jack sends in a super chat, says in a half PPR with a limited Ayuk, do I play Pollard or JSN potentially? In a half PPR, it probably ends up being Pollard. Let me check here. Pollard sits there, and maybe not even Pollard. As of right now, I have Ayuk ahead of the bunch. Pollard, I don't love this week, especially in a half PPR, primarily because they do play against Chicago Bears. Chicago Bears run-stop defense is top 5 in multiple categories, and especially over the course of the last couple of years, they've been really good in terms of stopping opposing running backs. It'll probably be a check down game that could elevate the potential of someone like Tony Pollard, but as it currently stands, I'm leaning the direction of just probably playing Ayuk there. If you are not comfortable with the limited nature of his potential play, I then just play the receiver that you have available. Okay, really quickly, before we continue on, a couple reminders. Again, for those of you who are joining us this morning, welcome. Hope you guys are doing well. If you haven't yet already, click the like button down below. That is greatly appreciated. As you can see to the right side of the screen, we have updated rankings as for the available potential players who have not participated yet. The rankings that you can see to the right side of the screen do not include any Chiefs, Ravens, Philadelphia Eagles, or of course Green Bay Packers. They have all played. There's no reason to rank them. These are the top 36 running backs and wide receivers, followed by the top 16 tight ends, quarterbacks, top 12 kickers and defenses. Again, these are rankings that we put up every single Sunday morning like we have done for the last couple seasons. So if you guys appreciate that, do me a favor, click the like button down below because that does go a long way. Even if you want to click the dislike button, either way it works. The way that this functions with YouTube is as long as you get some sort of interaction, it helps the algorithm. So whatever you want to do, click it. Thank you. Appreciate it. Outside of that, we're good to go. Let's go ahead and scroll back down. Carts in the live chat says ESPN says that Hill is in the stadium. Yeah, I mean he's gonna play, right? If he doesn't play, well, then we'll adjust accordingly at that point. But we should be fine. Okay, let's go ahead and do that. Let's see, what do we have here? Jamar Chase, not expected to yeah, that's irrelevant. Okay, whatever. Moving on. After Jack's question, we had one that came in from Solomon Reyes. Solomon, thank you. Solomon says in a full PPR, Actually, you know what? Yeah, let me answer this, and then we'll go ahead and get into some underdog pick'em plays. Solomon says, PPR play 2, Pickens, Ridley, Javonte Williams, Sutton, Addison. In a PPR, okay, so let's see where I have these wide receivers in comparison to Javonte, and then we'll get you that answer. So as it currently stands, Javonte sits there. In comparison to where's Pickens? Let's see. Pickens is there. And what's the alternative option again? Ridley, Javon. Okay, Sutton, Addison. Got it. Okay, so of the available options you have, I play George Pickens and I play Javonte Williams. Thank you very much for your question, Solomon. The close third was Ridley, but I still do have both the other feasibly ahead of him by a good margin. You could play Ridley over Pickens if you're worried about Justin Fields. I'm not so worried about it. I think him and Levis, I mean, we could see very similar production out of both. It's not specifically in the passing game. Let's not get it twisted. Justin Fields on the ground is a monster with his legs. But yeah, as it stands, it's Javonte and it's Pickens. Thank you. Okay. Like I mentioned earlier, I wanted to go ahead and I wanted to show you guys a couple of the underdog pick'em plays that I am going ahead and I'm approaching with as it currently stands. So let's go ahead and hit that. After that, I'll answer a couple Discord questions for the Patreon users, and then we should be good to go. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to scroll down here. We're going to throw up the, where is my display capture? Boom. Okay. So a couple of pick'em plays that we're rolling with this weekend. Okay. Christian McCaffrey, anytime touchdown. Again, should be a great play. These are lesser multis because they are such easy potential plays. I don't even think 5.5 receptions even exists anymore. I think it's at 6 now, which I don't love as much. But again, if you're able to still get it at 5.5, I would take it. Stroud, 2 passing touchdowns against Indianapolis, the second highest potential scoring game within the week. I love this play enough to where I put a lot of money on it. Okay, let's just put it that way. Other potential great plays. I like Jaleel McLaughlin going higher than 1.5 receptions. I think that's relatively understandable. Again, last season, the Denver Broncos targeted their running backs within the passing game most amongst all teams in the National Football League, 9 times per game, 150 plus. Without Samaje Perine there, there's just more upside for Jaleel McLaughlin to get 2 receptions. And again, for those of you who watch a good amount of college football, Bo Nix, I mean, they literally in Oregon ran a lot of action behind the line of scrimmage, a lot of dump offs, a lot of screen plays. Jaleel McLaughlin should get himself 2 receptions. Hunter Henry at 2.5 is a joke. Cincinnati was top 5 in terms of fantasy points allowed to opposing tight ends last season. This is going to be a negative game script. Jacoby Brissett, when he played with Alex Van Pelt, who is the current OC of the New England Patriots, former OC of the Cleveland Browns, when he was with, Jacoby Brissett in 2022, when Jacoby was the starting quarterback from weeks 1 through 12, prior to Deshaun Watson's return, he lit up the tight end position in terms of targets and opportunities, and Njoku was a great overall play within that given season for that reason. So again, Hunter Henry should be great. Had full practices, healthy. Zamir White, we heard from Antonio Pierce, the head coach. He did say on multiple occasions this week and over the course of this offseason that they want to give Zamir White, the ball as much as possible. 15, 20, potentially even 25 touches within a singular game. I like his hire on that. Now, as you will begin to see, I like hires on just about any scenario because I don't like predicting lowers because I always want my fantasy players to play well. I go higher than 16 rushing attempts here because of the potential game script and the fact that they'll probably be leading for majority of this game. The current underdog play of this weekend in regards to Alvin Kamara is rushing touchdown, mainly because there's an option right now that sits as a vulture protection. If another player that is not a running back steals a touchdown from Alvin Kamara down in the red zone, once Alvin Kamara has gotten a rushing attempt on that play. So if Taysom Hill, for example, comes in and steals a touchdown from Kamara, your entire slip is rescued, and like the $10 entry that goes into this is kind of just given to you and reattributed, and you don't lose any money. We'll take, of course, higher on this. Arizona's, secondary is terrible. Jackson Smith, again, Ryan Grubb, new offensive coordinator that loves to throw the ball deep with his offenses. Deontay Johnson, the number 1 receiving target. And I have a free play in regards to Jahmyr Gibbs. Thank you very much. Okay, so that will cover that. Let's get back to the rankings on screen. Again, for those of you who are just joining us, actually, you know what? Let me go ahead and just reset the rankings back to running back just so we're all back on the same page. Updated rankings. Again, if you have questions in regards to which of these running backs to play against one another, hopefully that answer is that question. Thank you. let's get into answering a couple more of these super chats that came in. Thank you, Mike. Mike sends in a super chat saying, my second running back in a full PPR, should it be Zamir White or Javonte Williams? As it currently stands, probably Javonte. More upside for receiving work. Zamir White is not going to get himself third down receiving utilization on a consistent basis. They still have Alexander Madison. They have the new rookie running back that was like a 5th-round pick. They have Amir Abdullah. So, like, the receiving game on third down is most likely going to be another running back getting utilized in that circumstance. Even though Jaleel McLaughlin is, expected to get himself his own workload within the Denver Broncos backfield, Javonte Williams is still a capable receiving back that will succeed in that category. And it just does give him the slightest edge over Zamir in this circumstance because of the full PPR format. Otherwise, I'd play Zamir. Thank you. Okay, let's see here. Moving on. Let me go ahead and let's leave that there for now. Let's go ahead and answer the next couple questions that came in. All right. After Mike, we have Dr. Turbo, who says, hey, Andrew, hope you're doing well. I am doing well. Why? Because we are less than 2 hours away from the kickoff of the 2024 fantasy football season. So, yes, I'm doing very well. Thank you. 10-team league, full PPR. Pick 2 for the flex. DJ Moore, Tony Pollard, Austin Eckler, Joshua Palmer, Brock Bowers, and Brian Thomas Jr. In a full PPR, I'm not even just probably. I'm playing DJ Moore and I'm playing Josh Palmer. That's the way that I would go about it there. Thank you, Dr. Turbo. BB sends in a super chat. BB says the following. Full PPR, why Javonte over Najee Harris? The issue that I have with Najee Harris is that he doesn't get any receiving workload. Like, it is almost non-existent. Now, once you take into account the fact that they now also have a quarterback who's going to be able to run the ball, it does lessen his potential rushing touchdown upside. And additionally, all the upside that could be available in terms of the receiving game goes to Jaylen Warren now that he's available to play. So once you take those into account, so the threat of Justin Fields, which if it was Russell Wilson there, Russell Wilson, even though he had over 300 rushing yards last year, he is not as capable of a runner as Justin Fields. So the threat in itself in terms of read option plays and design runs for Justin Fields are going to exist, and that hurts Najee. Then you have Jaylen Warren healthy, ready to go. That hurts him within the receiving game and even rushing attempts accordingly. Then you take into account the run stopping ability of the Atlanta Falcons. They were top 5 in the category last season in terms of rushing statistics allowed to opposing running backs on a per game average. They've improved their defense this offseason. They brought in Raheem Morris, obviously the former defensive coordinator of the Los Angeles Rams. The Los Angeles Rams last season in terms of run stopping defense were top 10. You bring in overall scheme and you bring in far better players within the overall defense now. It should improve their run stopping ability, which was already great last season. So everything leads to the potential of Najee Harris not having a great game. That is why, in comparison to the alternative of Javonte Williams, who is going to get the receiving utilization, who is in an offense that most likely will be giving him the ball 15 plus times today, I'm leaning more in that direction, considering I do think it's just an easier matchup across the board, and that he's going to get more potential touches because he doesn't have as many threats impeding on his upside. Thank you. Okay, we move on to a question that came in from Alex Sondgrass, who says the following. Standard League, start Pittman, Godwin, or Chase? I'd probably play Chase. I'm going to be honest. I might be, let's see here. I might be a little bit biased because so here, this is the way that my brain functions. If I leave Chase on the bench and he goes for 20 points, it's going to make me sick to my stomach, right? Even if he goes for 15 points, 10 points, I'll be sick, right? In comparison to Michael Pittman Jr., who is the next, best option in a standard scoring format because of touchdown upside, I could see the conversation and the argument for playing Pittman, and I don't have an issue with it. If you want to play Pittman, you can. Me personally, if it's my decision, I can't leave Chase on my bench. I just can't do it. That's just how I function. Now, as for the rest of your team, you have Anthony Richardson, Barkley, Jacobs, Chase Pittman Adams at wide receiver. Flex is was that James Cook. Okay, Seattle defense. Looking for a good floor. Yeah, if you're looking for floor, considering, of course, you have the efforts of Barkley already accelerating you into a pretty strong position, I don't have an issue playing Pittman there. Again, like I said, I don't have an issue with it. In your case, you're good. As long as you can live with it and you can stomach it, you're good. Thank you. Jaden Thornton says, let's go, Andrew. What's up? Thoughts on Dowdle? I mean, the assumption is that they're going to split touches. Additionally, you would assume that he's going to get more receiving workload than Zeke. But then again, Zeke last season, as the starting running back of the New England Patriots from weeks 13 through 18, was averaging like 4 or 5 receptions per game. So Zeke is still a capable receiving back. Does he get a lot of yardage on the ground in the receiving game? No. Because again, his legs are pretty much shot. But that being said, still going to get given opportunity. It's going to be a 50-50 split. We'll see how it kind of transpires and how it turns out. But as it stands, I don't feel comfortable enough with Dowdle to start him unless I'm in a super deep league, like a 14 or 16 team league where there's multiple wide receivers, multiple running backs, multiple flex. All right, Jesse Aldridge says, should I trade Christian McCaffrey? I have, what did I say, Devontae Smith on the bench? I don't know why that matters. Should I trade? So the context to your question just doesn't make any sense to me. Should I trade Christian McCaffrey? I have Devontae Smith on bench. The answer for should I trade Christian McCaffrey is yes, only if you can get a player that is drafted within the first 6 selections of your draft. Like if you're like, hey, I can trade McCaffrey right now for Breece Hall. Okay, you can do it. That's fine. I can trade him for CeeDee Lamb. I can trade him for Tyreek Hill. Okay, whatever. That's fine by me. Like you're getting a first round pick anyway. But outside of that, no. As for I have Devontae Smith on the bench, doesn't make sense to me. Maybe your message got cut off, but anyway, moving on. We had a question that came in from Pedro's Lucario, who says, Standard League, as a Buckeye fan, do I start Harrison over Waddle? I mean, listen, your fandom, your preference in that regard is your prerogative. Personally, I prefer to play the alternative. I'd rather just play Waddle there in comparison to playing Harrison. But you drafted Harrison to play him, so just play him. No issue there. No issue at all. Thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah, I could see how that could be a definite bind in your scenario there, Petro. I could see that how that could be a struggle. Let's see here. Okay, again, for those of you who are joining us this morning, welcome. Hope you guys are doing well. Again, we'll be here for the next hour plus answering questions. If you guys have any questions, do be sure to go ahead and type them in the chat. Or if you guys want priority, because again, there's 1,100 plus you and only one of me, the super chat's probably going to be the only way in which I could potentially answer your question. So if in fact you're typing in the chat and hopeful, I'll try to get there, but the likelihood is I won't be able to. Appreciate it. Thank you very much. Okay, so moving on. We had a question that came in from Travis, who says the following. In the 2 QB league, Lawrence in, Cousins or Levis is my second spot. Cousins. Yeah, for sure, 100%. Thank you for the question, Travis. James sends in a question. And the following question is as such. Hey, buddy, in a half PPR, I can't decide as my between my flex choices, DeAndre Swift and Jerome Ford. Yeah, as it currently stands, I do have DeAndre Swift as my number 16 of the remaining running backs, and Jerome Ford is my number 20. Again, they're relatively close, but I do prefer DeAndre Swift as of right now. All right, before I continue on with some of these other questions, there were a couple Discord questions from Patreon that were sent in. We took care of that one. Trey Benson would be the pickup in this case. And then Luke sends in a question, says, thanks for the updated rankings. I just wanted to confirm about Najee Harris versus Tony Pollard versus Chuba Hubbard in the flex position. Based on the ranks, it looks like Chuba Hubbard is the way to go. Or maybe do I do one of the other guys with the greater ceiling? I prefer Chuba Hubbard. Okay, moving on. We had a question that says, Andrew, should I drop Yoshi and pick up Luke McCaffrey? You could. I'd prefer it for the future. All right, cool. Took care of those questions. Thank you very much. Getting back to the live chat. Okay, so there was a super chat that was just sent in from Samaj, who sends in the following. Thank you, Samaj. I need a flex in an 18 full PPR league. Amari Cooper, David Montgomery, Jalen Waddle, Zamir, Chase Brown, Keon Coleman / Allen Stack. Thanks. Happy first football Sunday. It is a happy first football Sunday. So, of the available, I'm leaning in the direction of 100% playing Jalen Waddle there. That is your flex play of the week. Jalen Waddle with 100%. Implicated for one of the highest scoring games of the season. Healthy, ready to go. Whatever the heck is happening with Tyreek Hill is irrelevant. I'm purely just talking about the potential of him scoring fantasy points within the given game And in comparison to the alternative options you have available in a full PPR, Waddle is the best play across the board. Thank you so much. Q Crew says, no question, Andrew. Just wanted to say what's up and that football is back, brother. Don't worry. You don't got to remind me, but I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Thank you for the support. I appreciate that. Let's see here. Gally Alace TCC says, just got a notification that Tyreek Hill was detained by traffic stop before the game. Any thoughts on it? I don't have enough information to give you a legitimate thought. All I know is that he's probably going to play and that there's no reason to be worried and to be happy because the season is just around the corner. But otherwise, I wouldn't be concerned. Again, unless further information is to be released to the public to where it can give us an insight as to what's going on, there's no reason to speculate. Leave him in your lineup and let's keep it moving, shall we? Jerry Gonzalez says in a half PPR, Achane, Terry McLaurin, and Godwin. It's for sure going to be Achane. I mentioned this earlier, guys. If you drafted Achane, second, third round, you got to play him. Got to play him. You spent the draft capital on him. Do not get scared. Do not get cold feet on wedding day. Wake up, guys. It's, the season's just around the corner. And again, Achane of the bunch is the best play in a half PPR scoring format. Thank you, Jerry Gonzalez. Appreciate it. Ryan Tank sends in a question. Says, Terry McLaurin or Mostert in a full PPR? I think I answered this earlier, but if you were not around, Ryan, I will take Terry McLaurin over Mostert in a full PPR scoring format this week. Thank you for the question, my man. Greatly appreciate it. Okay, again, a reminder. For those of you who are joining us this morning, welcome. Hope you guys are doing well. Again, I'm going to continue to remind you because this right here looks a lot different than what it has looked like in the past. This is on a 15-second timer. As it transitions, these are updated rankings as of quite literally this morning. So if something's to happen to Jamar Chase and he doesn't play, I would literally go take Jamar Chase out of number 13 and I would update this and I'd move somebody else into I'd move Yoshi Voss in the top 36, right? So these are going to be up to date. They will potentially transition and I will change the graphic if need be. But as it currently stands, good to go, ready to go. Updated rankings on screen to help you guys out. Appreciate it. Thank you very much. And if you haven't yet already, click the like button. There's 1,200 of us in here and we only have 300 likes. Come on, guys. Do me a solid. Let's go. All right. Let's get into this, shall we? Next questions on the board. We have the following. All right. Let's scroll back up here, shall we? A little bit further up. Okay. So after Ryan Tank's question, thank you, Ryan, again. Appreciate it. We have Rockout. Rockout, hope you're doing well. Rockout says the following. Burrow or Purdy and Burrow or Caleb in a 6-point per passing touchdown league. Yeah, I'll take Caleb over okay, so Caleb over Burrow, and then Burrow over Purdy. Got it? So, Burrow over Purdy, Caleb over Burrow. Got it? Thank you, Rockout. Appreciate it. We had a question from Pizzo, Piazio, who says the following. Full PPR. I'm starting Jamar Chase and DJ Moore. Would you rather start Burrow or Caleb Williams at quarterback? I'd rather play Caleb Williams. Yeah, I'd rather play Caleb Williams. It's a slight difference. Like in terms of my rankings for quarterback, let me go pull it up right now. Let's scroll over here. Like I have Burrow at 13 and I have Caleb at 11. They are in two different tiers. I have Caleb in the higher tier, tier 5 in comparison to tier 6. But if you want to play Burrow, you can. I just prefer to play Caleb in this circumstance. If T. Higgins was out there, if we had a 1,000% full Jamar Chase with a full training camp, it wouldn't even be a question. Joe Burrow would probably be in the top 4. He'd be ahead of Kyler on my rankings list of the list that transitions to the right side of the screen. But as it currently stands, we'll just take Caleb there. Thank you. Somebody in the chat says Waddle or Tank Dell. Yeah, let's play Waddle. I mean, again, if you want to play Tank Dell, you can, but Waddle's going to, again, guys, it's going to be a high-scoring game there in Miami. All right, let's see here. The Cowboys and Dak Prescott have agreed on a 4-year, $240 million extension. That is a lot of money. Sheesh Louise. All right, as of Mike Garafolo of the NFL Network, Justin Fields will start in week 1. Okay, that's expected. And we're moving on. Okay. So after Pizzo's question, we had Sandy O. Sandy, thank you very much. Sandy O says, in a full PPR, would you flex Montgomery or Thomas Jr.? I would like to play Montgomery there. Yeah, I'll play David Montgomery in the flex there in a full PPR. Thank you. Appreciate it. All right, Anonymous sends in a question. Anonymous says, in a half PPR, pick 2. Javonte, Ford, Brian Thomas Jr. Okay, cool. Of the available options, I'll play both the running backs. Give me Ford and give me Javonte there, Anonymous. Thank you. Hope you're doing well. All right, let's see here. Luke sends in a super chat. Says, in a half PPR, start/sit. Ford versus Dallas. Zamir versus Los Angeles Chargers. Got it. So of the available in a half PPR, I have Zamir White as my number 19. I have Ford as my number 20. So they're literally back-to-back in my half PPR rankings that are transitioning on screen in about somewhere between right here. So again, at number 19 on the top right, Zamir White, number 20, Jerome Ford. So in this circumstance, I would play Zamir White over Ford this weekend. As for the rest of your question, Luke says, who has the tougher rushing defense in the matchup? I'm scared to start Ford because Dallas's defense. Am I overreacting? I don't think you're overreacting. I think there's a higher likelihood that Zamir potentially touches the ball more. We know that the Cleveland Browns typically like to use 2 running backs every week. So that number 2 running back behind Ford is either going to be Deontay Foreman or Pierre Thomas. Goodness gracious. Pierre Strong. Pierre's. There's not too many, but Pierre Strong. I would just lean towards the idea of playing Zamir. Sure, Ford could get more receiving work. If it was a full PPR, I'd probably play Ford, but in this circumstance, half PPR, better matchup, potentially more touches on the ground. I'll take Zamir White in this circumstance. As for, yeah, that covers your question. Luke, thank you. Appreciate it. Let's see here. What else we have here? Any other updates? Justin Fields is going to start against the Falcons. Good to go. Okay, no problem. Unleashed 1312 sends in a super chat. Says, Javonte Williams or Christian Kirk in a half PPR. I'll take Javonte Williams there. Thank you. Alrighty, let me scroll back up. We had one that comes in from To The Max, who says, in a full PPR, I need 1. Flex between Neighbors, Diggs, McLaurin, Brian Thomas Jr., Brian Robinson Jr., Zach Moss, Chase Brown, Chuba Hubbard. Thanks, Andrew. Okay, so out of the potential options you have here, To The Max, it's between Neighbors and Diggs, like just clearly full and away. Let me see where I have Neighbors in comparison to Diggs in a full PPR. I have literally them back to back. I have Diggs at 20, Neighbors at 21 in a full PPR, both within the same tier, but I do have Diggs ahead of Neighbors. So if you feel like you want to play Neighbors, you can. Again, they're in the same tier for a reason because I'd feel comfortable playing one over the other. It's kind of just a matter of preference. Again, I don't know what to expect out of Daniel Jones today. I do expect that, again, they're taking on the Vikings. He's going to see a lot of Stephon Gilmore today. And that's probably not going to be as easy as the potential matchup that Stephon Diggs has today against Kenny Moore and that Indianapolis secondary. So I'd lean towards Diggs. If you want to play Neighbors, I have no issue with it. Thank you. Mitch sends in a super chat. Thank you, Mitch. I appreciate it. Says a Dunze or JSN today. I have JSN ahead of a Dunze. If Keenan Allen was to have potentially been out, it would be a no question, no problem. We'd fire up a Dunze. But in the case now that Keenan Allen did get a full participation of practice on Friday and is going to play, as it currently stands, it is a JSN week over a Dunze in my mind. Thank you. Okay, let's see here. Adith in the live chat says Dak or Mayfield in week 1 in a 4-point per passing touchdown league. I don't have Dak on screen, but I do prefer Mayfield. I will say that. Dak was like just right outside of the top 16 of the remaining players. I moved him down as it kind of transpired. Okay, let's see here. Where are we going off to? Let's go ahead and let's update this so that we can continue to answer some of these questions. All right, so after Mitch's question, we had Walker, 5530 Walker. Thank you, appreciate it. Says, good morning, Andrew. Happy fantasy. Yes, thank you. You pretty much just say Merry Christmas to me because that really is what it feels like today. I've got Purdy starting right now with Stafford and Mayfield on the waivers. Should I pick up one of them and start them over Purdy? If you can do so. So look, I wouldn't suggest you drop Purdy, but I would suggest that if you have an open potential roster spot on your bench and it is being filled in by somebody that is a lesser option that you don't feel that you need to have on roster going forward, and it's just like a convenience, like, okay, I have him, but will they ever play for me? Maybe not. If you're in one of those positions, I would say yes. Let's pick up Stafford and let's play him this week over Purdy. I don't love the matchup against the Jets. Additionally, the matchup for Stafford versus the Lions, again, he played very well against them last time. Now has a full healthy Cooper Kupp, has an improved offensive line, and quite frankly, he's fully healthy. And it's a matchup specifically against that secondary that gave up the 5th most points to opposing wide receivers and quarterbacks. That should be a very high-scoring game based on Vegas, which is implicated to be I think a 52-point total, which again, they're expecting this to be like a 27-31 finish, like a legitimate shootout, which should be fun. So yes, if you can't pick up Stafford and play him, I would. Trey sends in a super chat. Thank you, Trey. Says in a full PPR, start 1. Mostert, Warren, or Pollard. Between the 3, I would feel most comfortable playing Raheem Mostert there. As for your follow-up question or statement saying, I'm already starting DeAndre Swift as my RB1. Got it. Yeah, I'd feel really comfortable playing Mostert there as the RB2. Thanks. You're the best. Thank you very much. Everyone hit the like button. Thank you. I appreciate that, Trey. Thank you. All right, let's hear. Sunflower sends in a super chat. Says, in a PPR, Josh Oliver and Seattle defense or Ertz or Browns defense. So, you know what's funny? I don't even like Josh Oliver. I like Johnny Munt, the second tight end on roster. So, last year when the Minnesota Vikings lost TJ Hawkinson due to the ACL, in the absence of him, Munt was the receiving tight end on the team. Josh Oliver, is a blocking tight end primarily. So, if I'm picking between those two options, Sunflower, give me the Ertz and Brown side, to be honest. Thank you. Chris B. the RD, thank you very much, Chris. I appreciate it. Says, I need to play 3 in a full PPR. We have the following options. Tank Dell, JSN, Joshua Palmer, Zamir White, or Jamar Chase. Or no, that's Chase Brown. Sorry, I saw Chase and my brain broke. Okay, 3 of these options in a full PPR. Tank Dell has to play. I would also probably even... okay, so let me see where Zamir White is in comparison to these receivers in my full PPR rankings. So as it stands, Zamir White is there. Yeah, okay, so as it stands, the way that I would approach this in a full PPR scoring format, Chris, would be to play all 3 of the receivers. Give me Dell, give me JSN, give me Palmer. Those are the 3 that I would play in the given week. Thank you, appreciate it. Okay. I do appreciate all of you who clicked the like button. We're over 500 now. That is greatly appreciated. Again, for those of you joining me this morning, welcome. Good morning. Hope you guys are doing well. It is the beginning of the rest of the season, the beginning of the 2024 marathon that is the fantasy football season. In just under an hour and a half, Scott Hansen of the NFL Network and NFL Red Zone will be talking about 8 hours of commercial-free football, and we're all going to sit down. We're going to enjoy our Sundays. So, again, prior to getting there, we're answering questions. If you guys want rankings, again, these are up to date as of this morning. So, if in fact you are looking for which quarterbacks I would play, like where's Justin Fields? Justin Fields was my number 10 quarterback, ready to go. If that's something that you're interested in, check it out. Now, if you want my all-expensive rankings in terms of all of my top quarterback, running back, wide receiver, tight end, kicker, defense, flex, half PPR, full PPR rankings, you can check out the Patreon. There's a link down in the description. Or you can go ahead and sign up via Underdog Fantasy. And for future weeks, from weeks 2 through 18, I'll send you rankings every single Sunday morning for my email directly to yours. So you can either check out the Patreon or take advantage of the Underdog. All that information is down in the description for those of you interested. Thank you. Alrighty, let's see here. We had a question that came in from, I think it was John. Yes, it was John. John says the following. Use my number 2 waiver on Stafford or ride with Dak. No, I'm not using my waiver. Leave Dak in the lineup. I'm not using the waiver. I don't feel comfortable with that. Can only use it on likely since I have... Yeah. Do not waste the waiver. Keep it as such. I don't want to sidetrack, but I do not like the idea that because you have to pick up if a player is sitting on waivers and Tuesday has already surpassed, it should not lose your priority. That is a preference rather than I guess how it normally is. I don't know why people run their leagues like that. John, unfortunately, whoever your commissioner is, has sold you underneath the table, sold you down the river. In this circumstance, leave it with Dak. Keep your waiver because we might need it for Tuesday to pick up Isaiah Likely accordingly. As for your follow-up question, Chuba Hubbard or Ayuk, probably throwing Chuba Hubbard there as of right now, John. Thank you. Smooth Criminal. Hope you're doing well, Smooth. Says Fields or Trevor Lawrence in a 6-point per passing touchdown league. Considering the 6-point per passing touchdown league, I'd still feel comfortable playing Trevor Lawrence there. Thank you. Brett Wood says, in a full PPR, would you play Ford or Swift? Let's go ahead and check my rankings accordingly. Ford or Swift? I have DeAndre Swift 2 spots ahead of Ford in a full PPR. They're relatively close, number 16 in comparison to number 18, but as it stands, I still do have DeAndre Swift ahead of him against the Tennessee Titans. Thank you. Appreciate it. All right. After Brett, we had Noel or Noel. No, I think it's Noel. Regardless, thank you very much. I'm talking to myself at this point. Amari Cooper or Chris Godwin in the flex. I'll take Chris Godwin, regardless of scoring format. Maybe in a standard league, I'd play Amari Cooper, but I think in a half PPR, full PPR, I think, yeah, it's not even a matter of think. I would play Chris Godwin. Thank you. Appreciate it. Let's see here. Moving on. We had a question that came in from Doc92, who says, start 2, Dell, Kirk, Pickens, full PPR. Considering the full PPR format, considering the quarterback change for the Pittsburgh Steelers, I feel way more comfortable playing Christian Kirk and Tank Dell in this circumstance. Those are the two that I would suggest to you, Doc, for this weekend. Thank you. Failures, no option 80. Sends in a super chat. Thank you. Greatly appreciate it. Says in a full PPR, flex, start 1. Addison, Swift, Thomas, Jr., Odunze, Singletary. Of the available that you have, I'm playing DeAndre Swift there. I'll play him again. So for people who are listening and may have an also similar, question on hand, I'd play Swift over Addison. I'd play him over Odunze. I'd play him over Thomas Jr. I'd play him over Singletary. So yeah, DeAndre Swift is the suggestion in that circumstance. Thank you. Okay, after failure is no option. We have a question that comes in for Foresight, who says, full PPR, I need 1 wide receiver and 1 flex. I have Pittman, Dell, and Walker. In your position, I would play Michael Pittman Jr. as your wide receiver, and I would play Kenneth Walker as your flex. Thank you, Foresight. Appreciate it. Okay, let's go ahead. Is the live chat going to work, or is it still broken for me? I got to just update this to live chat, and it's still relatively broken. Okay, very well. Trying to see how that works. Okay, anyway, moving on. We had a question that came in from Kel Kaz, who says, full PPR, Tony Pollard or J.K. Dobbins? I'd rather play Tony Pollard there. J.K. Dobbins is going to be in a little bit of a split between him and Gus Edwards. As to how much of a split we're going to see, I guess is to be determined. He's more of a player very similar to Zeke or Dowdle that I kind of want to leave on the bench, see how they perform in week 1 before I can establish them as a for sure starter. Like, I know that Tony Pollard is going to get himself like the first crack at, the overall opportunities. Sure, there's still going to be Spears integrated within the offense, but Tony Pollard should be the, lead back by almost every overall metric in terms of snaps, rushing attempts, targets, etc. within the overall offense. So I'll take Tony Pollard there, who is also implicated to get more receiving workload than J.K. Dobbins accordingly. T93 sends in a super chat. Thank you, T. He says in a PPR 12-team league, we have Etienne, Mostert, Connor. I have Palmer, Shakir, Hopkins on my bench. Change any of them. If Chase doesn't play, do I start Rodgers or grab Fields, Mayfield? Okay, hold up. So T, maybe there's more context that I need, but Etienne, Mostert, and Connor, as for that question, right, in terms of replacing Connor in the flex with any of those available options, I probably wouldn't. No, I wouldn't. So I'd leave it as such. Those are the 3 players that you go with. As for your quarterback question, in regards to Rodgers or grab Fields or Mayfield, it says if Chase doesn't play. So what does Rodgers have to do with Chase? That's my confusion. So, like, do you have Burrow in your backup as Rodgers? And then you're asking if Chase doesn't go, do I play Burrow or switch to Rodgers or potentially pick up Mayfield or Fields? That's my confusion. Chase is probably going to play. So if you have Burrow, you play him. If you don't have Burrow and it's between Rodgers, Fields, and Mayfield, pick up Fields or Mayfield and play him over Rodgers. Thank you. Appreciate it, T93. A little bit of a confusion on my part, mainly because there maybe wasn't enough context within the question as a whole, but we'll figure it out. We're good to go. Why is James Cook below Achane? Josh Allen. Yeah, Josh Allen mainly. Again, here's the thing about Achane, right? You drafted him to be a starter. Jacksonville, typically, it's not a matter of like, are they a great run defense? At times they are, at times they're not. Like, it really just depends on the matchup in terms of the capabilities of that offense. And quite frankly, what we do anticipate to see based on what we saw last year. When Achane and Mostert are both healthy, they're both averaging about 14 touches per game when they're both in the lineup together. So Achan's going to get himself 14 potential touches within the game, if not more, maybe. And in those opportunities, again, considering his efficiency, he's up there, and he should be able to get himself a lot of opportunity, even in specifically if in fact they are in a positive game script, they're leading for majority of the contest and trying to run out the clock. Now the issue with James Cook is like, yes, he does have a great matchup. It is a better matchup than Achan has, but James Cook has Josh Allen. Josh Allen has scored a rushing touchdown in 14 of the last 17 games, including the playoffs. And the issue is that unless James Cook is going to get himself a lot of receiving workload, or if he's going to score a rushing touchdown, it's really going to damage his potential for upside, considering Josh Allen's overall presence. I know that Mostert also provides a threat to Achan, but when we're comparing the two, I do think that there's more of a guarantee of a threat from Josh Allen within the given week. Again, I mean, if we go look at Josh Allen's recent games, it is ridiculous. Like, if you want to talk about potential guaranteed plays via Underdog Fantasy, Josh Allen anytime rushing touchdown is pretty much always in play. Like, I'm just looking at the last, 2, 4, 6, 8 games. In the last 8 games, he has scored quite literally. He scored a touchdown in 7 of the last 8 games, but he's also scored 10 touchdowns in those last 8 games in terms of rushing. So again, dude's a beast. I mean, it's crazy. No, he scored 11 touchdowns, not even 10. He scored 11 in terms of, okay. Anyway, Josh Allen's a monster. Hopefully we're all starting him. If you're not, check yourself before you wreck yourself. All right, anyway, moving on. Where are we at here? Super chat questions. Moving on. Why aren't these updated? That's so weird. Okay, T93. After T93, we have Ernesto, who says, glad you're back. Glad to have me back. Listen, I've been here for why do people keep saying this? I mean, awesome. I'm glad to be back. But I've been back for the last, 39 days, 40 days almost here. I've been back. But hopefully, of course, you've now found me, and we're back to, of course, talking fantasy. Either way. Adunze or D-Hop in a full PPR? I'll take D-Hop there. Thank you, Ernesto. Edwin sends in a super chat. Edwin says Mostert or Tank Dell in a full PPR. Let me check what I have it accordingly. I'm going to assume that I have Mostert ahead of him, but I want to confirm that. I don't. I actually have Tank Dell ahead of him in a full PPR. Swap that. Tank Dell's the play. I'll take the Andrew of last night or this morning who put together the rankings rather than the one that sits in front of you now in terms of trusting the ranking system. Okay, why do I have 10 Twitter updates? Why is this a thing? T. Higgins inactive. Beautiful. Is Yahoo gone ahead and done that? For those of you who, or whether it's Yahoo, whether it's ESPN, whether it's Sleeper, etc., if you have T. Higgins in your lineup or on your roster, move him to your respective injured reserve spot if you have one. If you don't have an injured reserve spot, I'd be cursing out your league commissioner. So boom, on Yahoo, he's considered out. I moved him to my IR. Now Andrew's going to hit the waiver wire to go pick up a player that he can potentially utilize in the coming weeks. This is a super flex league, so let me see what quarterbacks are available here. Not interested with any of those. Any wide receivers? Luke McCaffrey's available. I might just scoop that right now. Demario Douglas is not bad. Let's see, running backs. Not interested there. I don't know if it'll let me pick this up. Would it let me? Nope. So then Luke McCaffrey it is. Okay, very well. So I'm going to pick up Luke McCaffrey, and I'm going to keep it moving. Add. Done. On my roster. Finished. Okay. So again, if you guys have the ability to go pick up somebody else because of players being designated out, be sure to do so. Thank you. Okay. Matt Davis sends in a super chat. Thank you, Matt. Matt says the following. Scary Terry or McLaurin in a full PPR? I have McLaurin ahead of... Actually, you know what? Maybe I don't. Let me check. I just want to confirm. McLaurin is there. And yes, I still do have him ahead of Keenan Allen. Keenan Allen is a little bit higher ranked in comparison to a half PPR in terms of for full PPR overall rankings. But yeah, I still do have Terry McLaurin ahead of Keenan Allen. Thank you. Let's see here. You know what? Let me open up my Patreon real quick. See if there's any questions that people sent to me directly there real quick so I can get those taken care of. Okay. What do we have here? I got a question It's a 10-team full PPR. Pick 2 for the flex spot. DJ Moore, Pollard, Eckler, Josh Palmer. You've got you've got the rankings. The rankings. But if you want me to choose anyway, here's the answer. Anto, what is this? Okay, so you have DJ Moore, Pollard, Eckler. Yeah, it's DJ Moore and Palmer. That's that. Moving on to another question. We have Samuel. Samuel, what's up? If you're in the live chat, hope you're doing well. It says, hey, Andrew. Help me with my starting lineup. I need to start 2 of these available players. Adunze, Shakir, Josh Palmer, Zamir White, Tony Pollard. Again, you have the rankings available to you, but in this circumstance, it's Palmer and Shakir. Moving on, we had a question that came from Alberto Romero. Thank you, Alberto. Hope you get, Alberto just re-signed up via Patreon. Thank you, Alberto, if you're listening. Would it be possible to be added on Discord? Yes. I'll add you after the stream. Done. All right. Okay, so we have G Drob, who signed up via Patreon, said, in a half, okay, so 12-team half PPR, would you start Javonte Williams, Deontay Johnson, Josh Palmer, or Khalil Shakir? As it currently stands between the bunch, Javonte. Okay, hold up really quickly. Let's do this. So let's go to Javonte's the play. And okay, you're good to go. Also have Rico down. Yeah, we're not interested there. Starting lineup is okay. Yeah, you're good. Is the play. Thanks. All right, that answers those questions. I see Josh also there. I'll answer that one later. That's not really a pending question at the moment. Okay, good to go. All right, caught up, getting there. 600 likes. Maybe we can get to 1,000. Time will tell. But either way, continuing to answer questions. Again, for those of you who are joining us this morning, welcome. Good morning. Hope you guys are doing well. We have updated rankings on the right side of the screen for those of you interested. They will continue to filter every 15 seconds between these different graphics that I have put together in terms of my updated top 36 remaining running backs, wide receivers, top 16 quarterbacks, and tight ends, top 12 kickers and defenses. Again, probably by the time we get to 9 a.m., so in about 13 minutes from now, I will try to once again show you guys my underdog plays of the week so that if you guys are interested in tailing, you can. But until then, we will continue to answer questions as such. Thank you. All right, so after Matt Davis's question of taking Terry McLaurin there, we have Chef New York, who says, I have Kyron Williams as my RB1. Who should I start at my RB2? Zamir White, Ramondre Stevenson, Najee Harris, Flex, Kirk, or Roma Dunze. Okay, so first and foremost, I will take Zamir White as your RB2, assuming it's a half PPR of sorts. If it's a full PPR, if it's a full PPR, it's probably Ramondre. As for your flex question between Kirk and Roma Dunze, I'd play Christian Kirk there this week there, Chef. Thank you. Cardiac says, how you doing, Andrew? Cooper or Kamara? 100% play Kamara. Thank you, Cardiac. Appreciate it. I'm doing well. Cardiac also follows up, says, I meant to say it's also a full PPR. No problem. Again, regardless of full PPR, half PPR, it's Kamara, without a doubt. Oh, wait. When you say Cooper, do you mean Amari Cooper or do you mean Cooper Kupp? Because that makes a huge difference as well. Because, yeah. So if you can do me a favor, Cardiac, just in the live chat, just clarify Amari Cooper, Cooper Kupp. Greatly appreciated. Thank you. All right. After that, we had Sammy Buckets, who sends in a super chat. Thank you, Sammy. Says, in a half point per carry league, Tank Dell or Montgomery? Half point per carry. So I assume today Montgomery gets himself at least 12 carries. So that's 6 points. We'll take Montgomery there 10 times out of 10. Thank you. Moving on, we had a question from Z, who says, Amari Cooper or David Montgomery in a full PPR scoring format for the flex? Let me check my rankings accordingly. Full PPR. Amari Cooper. Amari Cooper is ahead of David Montgomery in a full PPR. Now, if in fact, Cardiac, if your question between Cooper and Kamara, okay, is a straight up Cooper Kupp and not Amari Cooper, because if it's Amari Cooper, I'll take Alvin Kamara every time. But if it is in fact Cooper Kupp versus Alvin Kamara. If it's a full PPR, I'll take Cooper Kupp there. Thank you. Otherwise, half PPR, it's Alvin Kamara. Appreciate it. Okay, so we took care of that. Really quickly, the live chat just repaired itself. If you are someone in the live chat who sent in a super chat a long time ago and you didn't see my response, perhaps you walked into the other room, perhaps you got hit with a YouTube ad that I don't even control. If you sent in a super chat before and you didn't hear my answer, please let me know. Say I sent it, and I will go and I will find it and I will answer it immediately. Don't want to leave anybody behind who potentially sent in a super chat. Thank you. Josh says, why don't you interact with your viewers? I am. I literally am answering questions. Thank you, Josh. Appreciate it. Have a good day. All right, let's see here. Yoam Corey says, I just asked Jordan Mason after moving T against. Smart. Very smart. All right. Anyway, continuing on to answering questions, shall we? Again, if you guys want updated rankings, right there, good to go. That pretty much kind of supplements also answering some of these questions. Okay, so after Z, which will take Mari Cooper there. For J, all of you guys are one-letter names, huh? 12-team PPR, Yoshivas or Brian Robinson Jr. In a PPR, I'll take Yoshivas there. Thank you. Geeked Out sends in a super chat. Thank you, Geeked. Says all are PPR. Choose one. Bo Nix or Bryce Young. Oh, God. Oh, my. That just, I mean, what are we doing, right? Bo Nix or Bryce Young. I have them back-to-back in my rankings. I have Bryce Young ahead of him, though. So I'll take Bryce Young there. As for the follow-up question that you had here, Geeked Out, Moss, Judy, Polk, BTJ. If it's a PPR, let me check the difference between Zach Moss and BTJ. Zach Moss. I have BTJ ahead of him, so BTJ would be the play in that circumstance. As for the next question that you had there, Yoshivas, Quorum, Judy, Leggett, I'll take Yoshivas out of the group. And then for your final question, Polk, Ladd, Deontay, Benson, it's Deontay. So again, to top to bottom, Bryce Young, BTJ, Yoshivas, Deontay. Moving on, we had Jake Duncan, who says, in a PPR, safest pick between Brandon Cooks, Wan'Dale Robinson, and Yoshivas. Safest pick? It's like highest floor is what you're asking me. I don't know what we're going to see out of Wan'Dale Robinson. I'm assuming he could have himself a solid week because, of course, they're now a pass-first offense in New York with the Giants. But as it currently stands, I'd probably say that Yoshivas or Brandon Cooks are the safest of the two, or of the three. If it wasn't a full PPR, I could consider the Brandon Cooks play, but I'm probably going to say Yoshivas is the play between the three. Thank you. All right, let's see here. Is there anybody in the live chat that says, okay. Don't see anybody. Okay, so that's what I can just do. Let's go ahead and just boom. Thank you very much. Have a nice day. What's up, Jeff? Nice to see you, my man. Cash Kid Cardi in the live chat was saying Goff or Murray in a 6-point per passing touchdown league. In a 6-point per passing touchdown league, I don't mind playing Goff there. That's fine by me. Okay, let's get back to answering some of these questions. After Jake Duncan, we had Andrew who sends in a super chat. It says, in a full PPR, Jordan Addison or Andre Yoshivas? Currently, in a full PPR, I do have Jordan Addison ranked higher. Thank you. Cinco2X says, drop Mike Williams for the Cincinnati defense. I have Pittsburgh currently. Yeah, Cincinnati's my top defense. I would love to play them against Jacoby Brissett today. Thank you. Jonathan Del Angel says, one wide receiver, one flex in a full PPR. DK Metcalf, Waddle, Achane. Okay, one wide receiver, one flex. DK Metcalf, Waddle, Achane. Waddle and Achane are my plays. Waddle's your wide receiver, and Achane is your flex. Thank you, Jonathan. Appreciate it. Okay, let's get back to the live chat, shall we? Oops, I just refreshed the page, and that may break my entire system here, but hopefully it doesn't. I don't think it broke the system. Not yet. Okay. what I want to do is I want to refresh this. Okay. So we have Drew M, who sends in a question, says Moss or JSN? Full PPR. Cool. Let's check where we have Moss in comparison. I have JSN ahead of Moss in a full PPR. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you very much. Okay. After that question, we have Josh Pippin, who says PPR, pick 2. Jacoby Myers, Brandon Ayuk, Jamison Williams, Ladd, Ferguson, and Mooney. Jacoby Myers, Ayuk. Yeah, I mean, out of the bunch, I'd like to play Ayuk as one of them. As for the next best option, I'd say it's Ladd McConkey. So it's Ayuk, Ladd McConkey. If you're worried about Ayuk, you could play Jacoby Myers today with Ladd, but otherwise, I would rather just play Ayuk in Ladd in this circumstance. Thank you. Let's see here. Redify says, worried about Ayuk, Singletary, or Ayuk in a half PPR? Let me see where I have them ranked accordingly. Singletary. The thing about Singletary is I don't think there's it's not that much potential upside for a touchdown. That's the issue, right? Like, here's the thing. They take on Minnesota. He's going to get himself a good volume of touches, right? Like, he may touch the ball 12 times today. Maybe even more. You never know. Maybe the Giants are way better than we anticipate. And Singletary is able to lead the charge. I just don't love the play. Like, is he a solid RB2/RB3? Sure, but comparatively, in a half PPR, I'll take the alternative option in your circumstance here, Redify. Thank you. All right, let's see here. Again, really quickly. So it is almost 9 a.m. We'll get to Underdog picks in a moment. Speaking of Underdog picks, you can take advantage of Dak Prescott tonight's game. Well, it's not tonight. It's kind of like in the afternoon, but I guess depends on whether you're on the East Coast or West Coast. 0.5 passing yards. Take advantage of that via Underdog Fantasy. Otherwise, these rankings are up to date as of literally this morning. They do not include any players that have already played this week on Thursday's or Friday's game. So those guys are gone. Outside of that, these are the updated rankings at a top 36 capacity for running back, then following wide receiver, quarterback, tight end, kicker, defense. All of that should answer your questions in terms of interpositional rankings from my perspective, right to yours. Sure, can I not explain them? But that's exactly what the video was for earlier in the week in terms of explaining every single play and as to why I feel comfortable or uncomfortable about it within the given week. All right, anyway, thank you. Appreciate it. Click the like button. We are on our way to 1,000 likes. We're very close. We're getting there. Slowly but surely, though. All right, let's see here. Let me refresh this. After Redify's question, we had a question that came in here. Let's go ahead. Is there any updates? UFO says, I used your code on Underdog. Never got an email with the rankings. Second time reaching out to you. What was the first time reaching out to me? Where did you reach out to me for the first time, UFO? That's the question, because this is the first time I'm hearing of it. Do me a favor, UFO. If you signed up this morning, like literally today, then the rankings have already been sent out. You'll be able to benefit from it in future weeks. If you have signed up in the past using my code and you still didn't receive the email, check your spam folder. If that still is not in your spam folder, go down to the description. There's an email there that is mine. Directly email me. I will cross-reference your email to the list of Underdog emails that I have available, and I'll check it right now, literally, and send it to you if it's on the list. But if you can't hear me, UFO, and you're not watching the stream, then can't really help you at the moment. Thank you. Try to get it fixed in the coming days, though, for sure. Okay, let's see here. We had a question that came in from Sean, who says, full PPR, 6 point per passing touchdown. Dak Prescott or Fields? Thank you, Andrew. Between the two of them, I'm probably going to still play Fields there. Ford or Mostert in a standard league? Cash Kid, I'm going to place Mostert there. John says, I just checked my settings. Didn't lose the number 2 waiver. Started Stafford. Thank you. Glad to hear it. All right, let's see here. Palmer or Waddle, says Michael Lewis. You're going to play Waddle there. Alex Lewis ends in a super chat. Thank you, Alex. Says standard league, Kamara or Waddle in the flex. Standard scoring format, 0 points per reception. I'll take Kamara there. Jesse G says, in a half PPR, Ridley, JSN, or Palmer? If I'm not mistaken, the rankings on screen should answer that question. So Palmer is right there, and he is behind Ridley, and he is ahead of JSN. So in this circumstance, Ridley is the play. Thank you very much. As for your follow-up question there, Jesse G, Mayfield or Kirk? I have Mayfield ahead of Kirk Cousins. I almost said Christian Kirk. Thank you. I'm going to go check my email. Just so if, in fact, let's go find that right now. Let me DM UFOs real quick. Send me, let's see here. You know what? UFO, I sent you a DM. Okay. Taking care of that. Moving on. We had a question that came in from Tezzy, who says the following. Do I start JSN or Singletary in the flex? What's your scoring format, Tezzy? I think that's going to make the biggest difference of the two. If it's a half PPR, I'll take Singletary. If it's a full PPR, I'm probably leaning towards JSN. Let me see. Where do I have Singletary accordingly? You know, it's funny. Yeah. At this point, in a half PPR, it's for sure going to be Singletary. In a full PPR, I have Singletary one spot ahead of JSN, 61 compared to 62. So it's actually Singletary in both overall circumstances. Alrighty, it's 9 a.m. What I wanted to go ahead and do once again is share a couple of the underdog picks that we're going ahead and taking advantage of right now, going into this upcoming weekend. So we're going to go ahead and display those on screen in just a moment right here. So really quickly, a couple of my favorite plays going into this weekend are the following. I've explained them at a further rate earlier on in the week, but just so we're on the same page, these are 3 plays that I like, along with these potential 3 plays. Jaleel McLaughlin receptions, Hunter Henry receptions, Zamir White rushing yards, attempts, touchdown, yards, longest reception, and a free play for the given week. Okay? If you want, you can trail. Again, a lot of these are $10 entries. Nothing crazy, but the multis are pretty decent in terms of potential 6x upside within their overall circumstance. Thank you. Okay, moving back to some of these questions. We had a question that came in from, let's scroll all the way back here. Hopefully we can do so. There it is. Got it. So after we took care of Tezzy's question, we had one from, I don't even know how to pronounce this. Ya, see, me, like. Either way. Ya, see, me, like. That's what we're going to call it. The question is, thoughts on Kendre Miller after injured reserve. Drop Polk for Fields. If you're going to play Fields, you can drop him for it. Otherwise, I'd probably rather just keep Polk if I have a decent... Like, if I already have a top 5 quarterback, why am I going to go pick up Fields? Unless I'm going to look to trade him. Otherwise, just keep Polk. If you want to potentially pick him up to then trade him to the Jordan Love manager in a future week, you could. But as for Kendre Miller, even once he returns, he's still going to be the number 3 receiving option behind Kamara and Taysom Hill. So I don't really see much out of him in that circumstance. And of course, still there's Jamal Williams, which he would jump over Jamal Williams, but still be the number 3, which for fantasy purposes, unless the offense is really high powered, isn't going to mean anything. Hank Hennick sends in a super chat. Thank you, Hank. Appreciate it. Says in a half PPR, start Komet or drop Komet for Hunter Henry. Also have Jonnu Smith as a sleeper on my bench. I could drop him as well. Not sure what to do. Between the bunch, as it currently stands, it's probably in your best interest to keep Komet in comparison to Jonnu. I mean, look, I love Jonnu. This week, I have Jonnu Smith ranked as my number 18 tight end. Well, that's in a full PPR. In a half PPR, he's my number 17 tight end. Hunter Henry sits at 11. Komet's at number 19. So even this week, I have Jonnu ahead of Komet. The thing about Cole Komet is that he's just more of an established player, and he probably will see more workload as it goes forward. So if I'm you, I'd probably just end up dropping Jonnu, which again, as the president of the Jonnu Smith fan club, it's hard for me to say it, but I think it's probably it's probably in your best interest in just keeping Komet, picking up Henry for Jonnu, and playing Henry this week. Jonathan Del Angel said, I sent in a super chat. Yes, you did. I answered that, but if you didn't hear me answer it, the suggestion that I made, Jonathan, if you're listening now, is Waddle and Achane as your starting wide receiver and flex for this week. Thank you. So yeah, thank you, Hank. I'd probably end up dropping Jonnu and picking up Hunter Henry in the circumstance to play him this week. If you're comfortable dropping Komet because you want the upside and potential of Jonnu, I mean, let's do it. But again, they're both pretty much lottery tickets at tight end to see whether or not one is going to transform into the player we want them to or not. Teddy H sends in a super chat. Says, in a full PPR start to Dell, Ayuk, Mostert. Probably just going to play the Mostert and Dell route there. Thank you. Spencer sends in a super chat. Says, Kirk, Deontay Johnson, or Jay Williams. Between the three of them, I'd probably go with Christian Kirk. Yeah, in a full PPR, I'll take Christian Kirk there. Thank you. Appreciate it. All right. After that question from Spencer, we had KJ who says, why don't you have Jess in the top 10 this week? Who the heck is Jess? Am I crazy? Who the heck is Jess? KJ? Is that an autocorrect mistake? I'm confused. Anyway, let me look up KJ. KJ. There's only one message, and that's it. Yeah, I don't know who Jess is. But if you want to clarify, you can. Z sends in a super chat. Says, why did Burrow drop in rankings? I have Stafford on my bench. Mainly because no T. Higgins anymore. And Jamar Chase could be at a limited capacity. We're not 100% certain. So with less receiving upside, his passing upside in terms of yardage statistics, definitely drop accordingly. So if you have Stafford on your bench, I'd play him ahead of him. I love women says, in a full PPR, Lockett, Michael Wilson, Curtis Samuel, or Jalen Polk. As it currently stands in a full PPR, I believe the highest player of the bunch that I have is Tyler Lockett. Let me see. Tyler Lockett is there. And then of the available, Curtis Samuel will be next highest. Then it would be Michael Wilson. Then it would be Jalen Polk. So yeah, it would be Tyler Lockett out of the bunch. That would be my suggestion as it currently stands there. I love women. Thank you. Rico Gaming sends in a super chat. Says, full PPR. Should I keep George Pickens in my flex or start Mostert, Sutton, or Jacoby Myers? Okay, so it's between Mostert and Pickens and Sutton. So let's look this up, shall we? Mostert. Okay, so as it currently stands, I would leave it as Raheem Mostert. Yep, leave it as change it to Raheem Mostert. I would move Pickens out of that spot. Thank you. Okay, again. Okay, AV sends in a question. Says, in a non-PPR, pick one. Chase Brown, Warren, Corum, or Shaheed. In a non-PPR? Let me see how I've... Okay. So really quickly, let's answer this question, and then after which, I need to get to the email of UFO, and then we should be good to go. In a non-PPR, what is the available options again? We have Warren, we have Chase Brown, we have Corum. Okay, I don't want to play Corum. So it's between Chase Brown, Warren, and Shaheed. Chase Brown, Warren, and Shaheed. Let's see here. Let's see, where do I have Chase Brown in comparison, like a half PPR? Okay. Yeah, I just play Chase Brown there in a standard scoring format. That's the direction that I would lean towards. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Okay, so now let me go ahead and let me see what the deal is with UFO's email and why he was not sent a Underdog setup here. So let's go back. Let me do this while we're live. The email was sent. I can guarantee you, but I will send another one right now just why not? So let's do it. And then I will add your email to it. Let's go ahead and let's blind carbon copy this thing. Boom. Week I guarantee you, UFO, it's in your spam folder. Guarantee it. But regardless, I'll send it anyway, just so we're all on the same page, because I want to make sure you have that. Okay, and okay, we're good to go. And I think we can send that out. Send. That's sent. Done. UFO check. Let me DM you back on Twitter. Check email. Sent again. Check spam folder. If you don't receive in 2 minutes. Okay, moving on. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Next questions. So after we took care of AV's question, we're playing Chase Brown there. We move on to AJ. AJ, thank you very much. AJ says, Andrew, Deontay Johnson or James Conner in the flex full PPR. I will take Deontay Johnson there. Moving on, we had Adam Amar who says, starting Brian Robinson. Should I start Eckler over Ayuk? So pretty much covering up all the Washington Commanders running back value. In a full PPR, I'd say no. Honestly, I don't want to do it in either scenario. I wouldn't do it. I'd probably just play Ayuk there. If you feel like you don't see much out of Ayuk going into the game week, just play Eckler. That's fine. I don't want to. Yeah, I wouldn't suggest it. That's just the only way that I'm going about it. Ashley Gomez sends in a super chat. Says in a half PPR, Shakir, Palmer, Singletary, Zeke. I need one. In a half PPR, it's Singletary. Thank you. Nick sends in a question. Says Burrow, Murray, or Goff. As it currently stands in a 4-point per passing touchdown league, I'd play Murray there. Number 1, Goff 2, Burrow 3. As for your follow-up to your question, in terms of context, McBride or Kincaid for tight end, I'd like to probably trade one, but if I'm playing one right now, it's McBride. James Conner or Kyron Williams as running back, Kyron Williams. So again, Murray, McBride, Kyron. Thank you, Nick. Appreciate it. DJ622. Thank you very much, DJ. Says, please help. Start 2, Mendenhall, Moreno, or, yeah, good one. Listen, DJ's always coming in with these old classic last names. Running backs of, fantasy football's past. Mendenhall was pretty good. No Sean Moreno, though. Not so great. Not so great. Dior Kev sends in a super chat, says, happy to be back. Full PPR. Is Blake Corum or Ty Chandler worth the hold? Yeah, I think Blake Corum's worth the hold, just to wait and see how this backfield transpires. Ty Chandler is pretty much just a handcuff in case of Aaron Jones' injury. That's really the way that I see it as it currently stands. He'll get a couple touches every week, but not enough to where it's going to justify him being a starter, or at least I believe it won't justify him being a starter. Maybe he comes out and he gets 15 touches today. Who knows? Should I drop one of the two for Atlanta's defense? I have the New York Jets. Stay hydrated, Andrew. Thank you. You know what? Good idea. Let's take a drink of the water. So as it stands, Dior Kev, I'm probably leaning towards keep them both on roster. Continue to play the... we can drop Ty Chandler if you want to play Atlanta's defense. Ty Chandler, again, is very much so dependent on an injury to Aaron Jones, which I'm not rooting for, nor am I predicting at the moment. So we'll lean towards continuing on with the potential drop and swap of that defense. But do not drop the Jets defense. The next 3 weeks, Titans, Patriots, Broncos. Really good matchups for the Jets defense. Should be top at the conversation for the next following 3 weeks. Jay Riz says, Chase Brown or Yoshi Voss in a full PPR. I'll take Yoshi Voss there. Thank you. Appreciate it. Okay, UFO sent that out, done. Okay, moving on. We had more questions. One from KJ, who follows up and says, why don't you have the Jets in... Oh, okay. Why don't you have the Jets in your 10? Where do you have them? In terms of my rankings, they're not in my top 12 defenses for the week. I do not have the Jets there because I don't really want to mess with them this week. there's always a chance that McCaffrey comes out and just blows through that defense. The chances are that San Francisco is going to put up points, but I don't trust it enough to the point to where they're going to be causing enough turnovers to be fantasy relevant in comparison to the alternative options. So in regards to my potential defenses, they're probably in the top 15, but between 13 to 15 in that overall circumstance. Thank you for the question, KJ. But again, if you want to play the Jets defense, you can. I don't have an issue with that. It's just a matter of, I just think they're better matchups. But again, defense, again, it's very difficult to predict at any given week. This week, you may not have the New York Giants ranked as your best defense, but they could have 2 pick sixes for all we know. It's random. All right, let's see here. Bonk sends in a super chat. Says, pick 2, half PPR, Yoshi Boss, Adunze, Addison. Cool. Between the 3, I'll take Adunze and Addison. Thank you. Alrighty, I think we're caught up there almost. We're good to go. If the chat wants to work properly, that'd be great. It breaks half the time. Keon Coleman or Yoshi, says Julian. Julian in the chat. I would play Yoshi there. Tua or Fields? I prefer Tua. Why Mostert over Connor this week? Touchdown upside. The expectation is that the Arizona Cardinals will be losing this game by a pretty good margin based on they're 6.5 point underdogs, based on Vegas's overall lines. If they're going to be down in this game for majority of the time by potentially 7 to 10 points, maybe even more, it will cause a lot less rushing opportunity for James Conner in comparison to if they were in a game script in which they were leading or at least tied. So in this circumstance, I would assume lesser opportunities in this case for him. He doesn't get much receiving workload. It just doesn't bode well for his upside if the game transpires as to how it's kind of predicted based on Vegas overall implications. Hopefully that gives you a little bit of insight. Okay, the YouTube chat is a little bit broken. So let's go here. We're good to go. Let me go ahead and let's check that. UFO has not responded. Very well. We'll close the email. We'll leave it as such. We'll go to potential questions. How close is Palmer to White? Let's play White then. Rankings were posted on main page of Patreon. Okay, took care of that. Thanks for coming. Okay, last question. Okay, so we'll take care of the Isaiah Likely question later. We're not even worried about that right now. Okay. Okay, YouTube chat's back. Beautiful. Love to see it. Now that that's taken care of, let me see what we have here. Active equals healthy equals play. I mean, to be honest, kind of. AAA says, how do we feel about Jamar when he's healthy? How do you not play Jamar when he's healthy? That would be absurd. I agree. I'm in the same boat as you, AAA. Sonny says, Pollard or Keenan Allen in a full PPR. Sonny, I would play Keenan Allen there. Justin McMillan in the chat says, Swift, Ford, or McLaurin in a half PPR. Probably leaning towards Swift there. Peter Song says, Charbonnet or Trey Benson in a half PPR. It's going to be Charbonnet. Thank you. All right, scrolling down here a little bit, what do we have? We have Justin McMillan. Yeah, we got to that question. Between Swift, Ford, McLaurin in a half PPR format, it's going to be Swift. Thank you. Defensive rankings, TBR07. In about 10 seconds from right now, they're going to show up on screen. They will be on the right side of the screen at a top 12 capacity. So once they show up, you'll be good to go. Again, that's the whole reason why I have this filtering slideshow of sorts. Get you guys the rankings so that if you have any questions regarding them in regards to interpositional rankings, you're good to go. If you want flex rankings, these are the options as to how you can find them. Otherwise, you can ask me via Super Chat. Thank you very much. Okay, Joshua Delgado sent in a super, but there wasn't anything attached to it. Let me see if I can find your question. Joshua Delgado. Josh, nothing attached to the question. Do me a favor and type in the live chat so I can get to that. Thank you, sir. C-Crip says, James Conner, Jamar Chase, if limited, Christian Kirk, DK need to. DK has to play. As for the alternative option of playing Jamar versus Kirk in a full PPR, if it's my team, I'm playing Jamar. If you want to play it safe, you want to play for the absolute floor, you play Kirk next to DK there. Jalen Wright is inactive. Jeff Wilson starting number 3 role. Should Wright owners be worried? Time will tell. Look, here's the thing. Jalen Wright was only ever going to be utilized when someone got injured. We heard all of this offseason. Mike McDaniel, the head coach of the Dolphins, said that Jeff Wilson Jr. had the best training camp that he's ever had with Mike McDaniel present. Now, you may be thinking that's only the last 2 years because that's how long he's been on the team, but Mike McDaniel was with the 49ers when Jeff Wilson was there this entire time. So that goes a lot. That goes a long way. So in this circumstance, again, Jalen Wright, again, only going to be valuable if an injury is to take place to one of these running backs. Until then, that's all he was on our bench, was a lottery ticket. Okay, scrolling down, we had a question that came in from Philip Villanueva, who says, pick 2 in a PPR. Samir, Ramondre, Ridley, JSN. Beautiful. Let me go ahead and let me look this up in my rankings. Ramondre in comparison to the bunch here. Ridley, Zamir, JSN. Got it. So let's scroll over. Ramondre's there. Ridley's there. JSN's there. And then where is Zamir? Zamir's there. Yeah. So as it currently stands, I play Ramondre alongside of Calvin Ridley in a full PPR scoring format there, Philip. Thank you again. Saucy B in the chat says Ridley or Pollard PPR. I'll take Ridley there in a full PPR. Zamir White or Ford in a full PPR. I'll take Ford there. Okay, live chat broke a little bit there, but no problem. We're going to continue on. Let me go ahead and refresh this page so hopefully the chat reloads up. There we go. Joshua Delgado, again, I don't want to forget. There was nothing attached to your question or your super chat. Please do be sure to type in the chat what your question was. Thank you. Okay. After Villanueva, we had Van Man, who sends in a question. Says, only got JT Sanders. Who are the best sleeper tight ends? Sanders is not bad for Carolina, but I like Jonnu Smith a lot. In terms of other potential quote-unquote sleeper tight ends that you could potentially pick up before this week, I mean, I wouldn't even consider Cade Otton to be a sleeper. I mean, I got him ranked in my top 16. Johnny Munt could be of value going forward. Jonnu Smith, Juwan Johnson. Those are the 3 names I'm willing to throw out there. Got it? Good. Beautiful. Moving on. We continue on to find the following question. Dev Penchal sends in a question. Says, in a half PPR, would you play Yoshi, Gabe Davis, Zeke, or Moss? Pick 2. Out of the 4 options, I would play Moss and I would play Yoshi. Thank you. Mohammed sends in a question. Says, half PPR, 3 wide receiver. Should I flex Jerome Ford, Tank Dell, or Deontay Johnson? In a half PPR, let me check where I have Ford in comparison to Tank Dell. Let's see here. Jerome Ford is behind Tank Dell. Oh, that's full PPR. Sorry. Let's check the half PPR. Jerome Ford is still... Come on, can I click it? Thank you. Jerome Ford is ahead of Tank Dell in a half PPR, so I would play Jerome Ford in this circumstance. Thank you, Mohammed. Mike Doe says, Amari Cooper or Yoshi Voss full PPR? Amari Cooper, for sure, without a doubt in my mind. Thank you. Appreciate the question. And appreciate the support. Okay, let me refresh my YouTube page here so that maybe it wants to function at a proper rate. Maybe. We'll see. Okay, so now that it's finally working, Josh Delgado, nothing yet still. There it is, found it. Hey, brother, half PPR, Pickens, Pollard, Singletary, Chuba Hubbard, Odunze. If I'm picking one of the bunch, it's Singletary most likely. It's either Singletary or it's Pickens. Let me see where I have them accordingly. Pickens. Okay, there's Pickens in the flex. Where's Singletary? Maybe I have him ahead of Singletary. No, I have Devin Singletary ahead of the entire bunch there. Joshua Delgado. Thank you again for the super chat. Thank you. Appreciate it. Somebody asked Moss or Tank. Yeah, it's going to be Tank. Alrighty. You Rosa. Thank you. Appreciate it. Cole Baldwin in the live chat says James Conner or Ridley in a PPR. Let me check where I have them ranked. James Conner or Ridley. That's half PPR. Sorry. Let's go to full PPR. I have Ridley ahead of Conner by literally 1 spot in a full PPR. Literally 1 spot. Really close, but next to each other. Okay, let's go back here. Let's update this. So we took care of Mike Doe's question. We took care of Joshua Delgado. We'll take Singletary there as your potential flex option for the given week. Auntie Slayer, nice to see you. Hope you're doing well. Says, what's up, Andrew? Pick one, flex. Ray Davis, Blake Corum, Vidal, Jordan Mason, Polk, Leggett, Yoshibas, Wandell Robinson, Demarcus Robinson, or Greg Dortch. We're back, baby. Yeah, so you're basically telling me to shoot in the dark. In this shot in the dark scenario, I'm not playing any of those running backs. Don't want to play Ray Davis, Corum, Vidal, or Jordan Mason. So as for the receiving upside of these players, it's really just between Yoshi Voss, Wandell Robinson in my mind. Between the two, I'll just play Yoshi. Thank you. Thank you very much, Auntie Slayer. Moving on. We scroll back here. We have, let's see here. Okay. Again, for those of you who are joining us this morning, welcome. Hope you guys are doing well. Again, to the right side of the screen, as we typically do, we will have our rankings filtering at every position as of updated rankings for this morning. So if you have any interpositional questions regarding running backs, wide receivers, tight ends, quarterbacks, kickers, or defenses, the rankings are available here. Thank you. If you have any additional questions in regards to potential flex questions, etc., stuff like that, you can either ask me via Super Chat or you can go ahead and sign up via the Patreon, Underdog, etc. Thank you very much. All that information down in the description. Continuing on. And again, if you ask a question in the live chat, I will answer it. I'll try to, at least. Like there's multiple that there's over 10 I've answered already over the course of this stream that's just in the chat, regardless of whether it was a super chat or not. So I'll try to my best, but we'll figure it out. Eric Sanchez said, just got back from work. Can you guys tell me what's the deal with Tyreek Hill? Yeah, he'll be fine. He'll play. Danny D sends in a super chat. Thank you, Danny. Danny says the following. Full PPR. I need to flex between Keenan Allen, J-Mo, Warren, and Jordan Mason. So are we saying that J-Mo is Jonathan? Sorry, are we saying J-Mo is Javonte or Jameson Williams? That's really the question. Either way, I think I'm playing Keenan Allen. Thank you, Danny. Appreciate it. DeAndre Hopkins or Brian Thomas, says Matt Gustafero. That's a really Gustafero. I've never even heard that last name in my life. Cool one. Caught my eye. Now let's answer the question. DeAndre Hopkins or Brian Thomas. Let's see. Where do I have them accordingly? Let me see in a full PPR where I have D-Hop compared to him. So in a full PPR, I have D-Hop ahead of him. In a half PPR, I have Brian Thomas ahead of him. So there, it's a flip-flop. Pretty much depends on your scoring format there. All right, let's see here. Sean in the chat was saying full PPR Swift or Ford. I like Swift. Justin McMillan says full PPR Keon Coleman or Ladd McConkey. I have Ladd McConkey ahead of him this week. Let's see here. We have a question that came in from Perp Clax, who says, hey, Andrew, no questions today. Just love. Thank you. Appreciate the love. Much love to you as well. Let's see here. Scrolling down. Scott Sharp in the chat says, good luck, everyone. Blessings and all have a beautiful day. Thank you, Scott. That's very nice of you. DC 650 says, hey, Andrew, what do you think about HN workload would be? Is Walker a safer play? Safer? Okay. Safe is very relative to depending on the scoring format that you play within. I could understand the implication that, like, okay, Walker's going to get himself a vast majority of the touches within the backfield, maybe more touches than Achane. But the efficiency of Achane, the higher scoring nature of that offense in comparison, should lead to Achane being a higher potential fantasy producer. This being said, what my prediction is in terms of touches, again, like I mentioned within the last hour, or I've mentioned this offseason, Achane in healthy games with Raheem Mostert, where they're both healthy and playing, is averaging, when he's playing, like he's legitimately in a role within the offense. So there's like about 6 or 7 games like that last season. He's averaging about 14 touches per game, or 14 opportunities per game. So combination of targets and rushing attempts, 14 opportunities in comparison to Mostert's 14 and a half. So that's what we're kind of expecting, about 14, 15 touches hopefully today. All right, Jacob Reiser. Deontay Johnson or Yoshi? I'll take Deontay Johnson there. Dilo, what's up, my man? You have any other kicker suggestions for today? Abe Hasinski says, given all the shenanigans, should I start Chase or Kirk? Personally, I have a hard time sitting Chase. If you want to play Kirk based on the safe floor of a PPR format, I wouldn't blame you. But I just have a hard time sitting Chase. That's kind of where I've concluded, and that's why I have Chase where I have him ranked. He's not super high ranked, so it's not like I'm willing to start him over other wide receiver ones per se, but I'm willing to start him over the rest of the field because I'm still relatively confident that I kind of have to play him. TW, so pretty much Tyler, 820, sends in a super chat. Thank you, Tyler. Yoshibas or Palmer? PPR. Will Chase be on a pitch count? I mean, look, we don't know. Like, legitimately, no one can objectively tell you what they're going to do with Chase. No one. What the head coach of the Cincinnati Bengals knows, the offensive coordinator, Zach Taylor, the head coach, they're the only people who know how this is going to pan out, right? You can ask anybody. You can ask me. You can ask somebody else within the fantasy space. Nobody really truly knows. We could all assume that he's going to be on a more limited capacity, but what is limited? Instead of playing 95% of the snaps, he plays 65. That's still a good volume of opportunity to where he can get himself 8 targets and still have himself a great game, you know? So it's very much so dependent on what we kind of wait and see. Now, as for your prior question, Palmer and Yoshi, I'll take Palmer there. But in the case of Chase, again, because I don't know, because nobody truly knows for sure, without a doubt, it's kind of up in the air. And that's kind of up to your discretion as to how you want to approach it. I'm willing to take the risk. I'm a risky person, and I'm rolling Chase. Ishan sends in a super chat, says, hey, Andrew, Pollard or Yoshi in a full PPR? Let me check. Let's see. Where do I have? Okay, that's full PPR rank. Boom, perfect. I do have Pollard ahead of him. Thank you. Okay, let's scroll back up here. We took care of Ishan. Thank you again. PV Cass says Connor, Waddle, Swift, half PPR. I'll take Waddle there pretty comfortably as well. Awesome person in the live chat says, should I play David Montgomery in the flex with Gibbs instead of Zamir White in the flex? Yes, I would. I would play Montgomery with Gibbs just to be safe, just to be able to ensure that you're getting 100% of the backfield value of the Detroit Lions. 100%. Yeah, and I think he's just a better play overall in terms of our rankings. So, again, for those of you who are joining us this morning, welcome, good morning. We are about 29 minutes away from the kickoff of the 2024 season. Hope you guys are doing well. Hopefully, in regards to the rankings that filter through or the questions that I've answered, hopefully your question has been answered. Again, we're going to be answering questions for the next 30 minutes or so until the kickoff. I do appreciate you guys continuing to be here. If you haven't yet already, do me a favor, click the like button down below. Try to get us to 1,000 likes before the end of today's stream. Thank you. Appreciate it. Okay, let's see here. Where are we at? In regards to the following. Someone said Kyron Williams or Christian McCaffrey. You have to play Christian McCaffrey. You have to live and die by your decisions. In this scenario, you must die on your shield of Christian McCaffrey. There's no getting out of it. There's no getting out of it, guys. Come on. What are we talking about? Okay, let's see here. We continue on with some of these super chat questions that were sent in after Tyler and Ishan and PV. Okay, so we have JB here. JB, full PPR. Should I leave DJ Moore or start Neighbors? I would start Neighbors. I feel more comfortable starting Neighbors in this circumstance. I still think DJ Moore will have a solid game, but in this case, let's roll with Neighbors. Let's see here. It says Rodgers or Mayfield. I'd rather play Mayfield. Yeah, for sure. Good to go there. Okay, let me go ahead. Let me make sure. Messages. Perfect. Got it. Two thumbs up. Boom. Done. Okay. So that's done. Let's go to Twitter notifications. Let's go see. Is there any news? Packers have reached out to Ryan Tannehill. That's okay. Very cool. Very cool. Nice to hear. They're going to need another quarterback for the next couple weeks, so they don't have to rush back the other guy. Mr. Jordan Love. Good to go there. Okay. Okay. Good to go there. Any Discord questions that may have been clicked in? Luke, we're good to go there. Could you give me some context why Higgins and Chase will be back at full capacity. Okay, we took care of that question. Aqua says, Chase worth the risk? It depends on your alternative options. It really is very dependent on your alternative options available. Okay, continuing on. Amari Cooper or Michael Pittman in a half PPR? Tony, again, in about 10 seconds here, this is going to filter off. Amari Cooper and Michael Pittman will be on screen right here. Michael Pittman is 18. Amari Cooper is up there at number 22. So I'll take Michael Pittman in a half PPR going into this week. Thank you. Appreciate it. Okay, the Watch Hangout sends in a super chat. Thank you, Watch Hangout. Greatly appreciate it. It says full PPR scoring format. Mooney, Michael Wilson Jr., Andre Yoshibas. Between the bunch, I would play Mooney number one. Actually, no. Yoshi number one, Mooney number two. That's the way I would go about that. As for, let me scroll back up here. Did I miss anybody? Nope. Okay, so after JB, we had another question that was sent in from PV Cass, who says, whoops, meant Connor, Waddle, or Montgomery in a half PPR. Got it. Thank you. Let me check where I have Waddle in comparison to Montgomery, because that would pretty much be the conversation to be had. I still have Waddle ahead of Montgomery, 27 compared to my number 31. 4 spots difference, but so again, projection-wise, the way I have him kind of panned out here, similar, but Waddle does have the advantage in comparison. Now, if you are a Jahmyr Gibbs manager and you want to start both Montgomery and Gibbs, in that circumstance, I could feel confident about doing so over Waddle because of that circumstance. Otherwise, generally, we'll take Waddle there. Rohit, what's up, my man? How's you doing? Isaiah Mitch in the chat says Eckler or Keenan Allen. I'll take Keenan Allen there. Of the 2 former Los Angeles Chargers, I'll take Keenan there. Luis Garcia says, I'm so effing ready. Yeah, that's right. Pittman or Khalil Shakir, says Lorenzo in the chat. I'll take Pittman there for sure. Richardson or Goff, passing and rushing touchdowns are both worth 6. I'll still play Richardson there. I think he has just more higher upside. Samuel or Godwin, for sure going to play Godwin there, Jason. For sure. Matthew Crawl says, in a half PPR, flex Ridley, Singletary, or Chuba Hubbard, and why? The why reason is going to be a little bit difficult because I can only talk or speak to one of the players, and the player that I want to play is Chuba Hubbard. Amongst the 3, Chuba Hubbard should have the vast majority of overall touches within this backfield. There is no Jonathan Brooks yet. It is Miles Sanders and him. Miles Sanders is not going to be able to compete with Chuba Hubbard. There's a reason why he got Wally pipped last season. Additionally, Chuba Hubbard, behind an improved offensive line with a better offensive coordinator / play caller / head coach, an improved Bryce Young, this offense should be a lot better than it is proven to be in the past. Therefore, with Chuba Hubbard last season putting up 10 fantasy points against the Saints, he should be able to put up that much, if not even more, considering how much of an improvement the offense has made in the offseason with all the additions that they've made. Thoughts on the kicker, Josh Riccardi? Is that the kicker for the Lions, if I'm not mistaken, right? Is that Riccardi kicker? Let's see. Or is that the kicker for the Rams? I don't remember which team he plays for. He's the Rams kicker. Here's the thing. With these new kickers, I just wait. Like, sure, you could try to grab one and throw it in there, but typically I just like to chill with these newer kickers and just play guys that I know have been consistent and I know what their kind of potential level of range is that we've seen over the years in terms of their season highs, whether they can kick on the like Dustin Hopkins, the kicker for the Cleveland Browns, I know regardless of weather can kick. Like, he's proven that. Like, that's why I don't really want to mess with the newer kickers too much as of right now. Okay, the Watch Hangout. We took care of you. Thank you very much again. We took care of Matthew Crawl. Thank you again as well. Jay sends in a super chat. Says, rate my team. Any weak spots as of the following. Okay, we have a 12-man half PPR league with IDPs. Don't love IDPs, but okay. Here we go. Josh Allen, Christian McCaffrey, ETN, Zeke. All right, so after Christian McCaffrey and ETN, Zeke is the next best back. Don't love it, but okay. We're continuing on. DK, Waddle, Keenan Allen, Ridley, Samuel, Lockett. Okay, very well. Njoku. So look, your biggest weakness is running back depth, I would say, as of right now. Wide receiver, you're okay with. Your wide receiver 3/flex are going to rotate every single week. Njoku's fine. Josh Allen's fine. Yeah, your biggest weakness is your just depth. Because eventually, what you need to probably have, Jay, is you need to drop your worst receiver and you need to go pick up Jordan Mason. That's probably what I would suggest as of right now. But otherwise, nothing crazy as it stands. D sends in a super chat. Says, Chubb or Ray Davis, McLaughlin, Irving, Khalil Herbert, Lloyd for rest of season. Okay, so of the following options, Nick Chubb should sit on your injured reserve spot. If you don't have an injured reserve spot, send a angry text message to your commissioner. As for the following available rest of players, Jaleel McLaughlin's at the top of that list, followed by Ray Davis and Marshawn Lloyd. But Nick Chubb should fit in your IR spot accordingly, and the rest of the way should be, as I mentioned, McLaughlin, Ray Davis, Lloyd. Patriot Politics says, half PPR Neighbors or Singletary in the flex? I'll take Neighbors there. Thank you very much, Patriot. Appreciate it. Okay, after Patriot, we had a question that came in from TC, who says, with a very interesting number of 5.69, out of baby TC, standard scoring, Purdy or Dak Prescott at quarterback? I have Dak Prescott ahead of Purdy this week. Thank you. Context on Pickens under Tank Dell in rankings? Yeah, Justin Fields. Honestly, it's just Justin Fields. Otherwise, I could justify the other way if it was Russell Wilson. Mo Money says, drop Trey Benson for Stafford. Burrow is my quarterback. No, I don't think I'm dropping Trey Benson. Again, look, the reason why you drafted Trey Benson was in case of an emergency of where James Conner gets injured, Trey Benson would then take over the running back spot there and maybe even not even give it up once James Conner returns from injury, right? That's the whole lottery ticket that you drafted. So I'm not really too interested in dropping that unless you're stacked, you're playing in an 8-team league and you don't need Trey Benson. That's the only way that I would ever consider doing it. Otherwise, I think you bite the bullet of Stafford unless you have another alternative option there available to drop. DeAndre Hopkins is active. Good to go. Okay, good. Thank you. Moving on. Scrolling down the list. Let's see what the next question is accordingly. Okay, so after we took care of Mo Money, we have Hector Barrera. Thank you, Hector. Says Shakir or Montgomery in a flexible PPR. I'd still play Montgomery there. Thank you. Rowett says Chase, Mostert, Ford. Oh my God. If it's like a half PPR, I could understand playing Mostert. I might actually, let me check my rankings. Probably not that close, but. Do I play anything above Chase? If you want to play Mostert, I don't have an issue with it. I don't think the differential between the two is going to be expansive enough to where it hurts you. So if you don't want to play Chase and you're worried about it, you can play Mostert there. I don't have an issue with it. Otherwise, just roll with Chase and let's hope for the best. Sip sends in a question. Says, good morning, Andrew. In a full PPR, would you flex McLaurin or Ford? Depends on scoring format. Let me check the following. So in a half PPR, based on my current rankings, I have Jerome Ford. Where's McLaurin? I have Jerome Ford ahead of McLaurin in a half PPR. On the opposite end, in a full PPR, I have McLaurin ahead of Ford. So depending on what your scoring format is, Sip, it would go as such. Thank you. PV Cass says, one more. Keenan Allen or DeAndre Swift half PPR? I'll take DeAndre Swift there. Thank you. Flo ERTL says, PPR flex, Najee Harris, Fields, play, question mark, JSN, Brian Thomas Jr. Out of the 3 available options, it's one of the 2 wide receivers. Let me check who I have ranked higher as of those 2 wide receivers. I have JSN ranked the highest amongst the 3. Thank you for the question. It would go JSN, BTJ, and then Najee in that order. All right, Sanchez sends in a super chat. I'm not going to read that name, but Sanchez it is. Super flex, Tua or Justin Fields? Kyler is my QB1. I would just follow with Tua. I just play it safe there because you have such a great option available to you. Okay. Beautiful. Okay. Moving on. We had a question that came in from Jose Rodriguez. Thank you, Jose. David Montgomery or Mostert and why? Between the two of them, they're literally back-to-back in my rankings, like legit, straight up back-to-back. The reason why I would play the other is... The reason why I would play one is why I would play the other. So it's just a matter of preference. I just believe that David Montgomery, because... Okay, so the way that I see it, David Montgomery, we saw him play against the Rams last season in the playoffs. I have some sort of, at least, context as to what I can anticipate to see. A lot of carries, potentially a rushing touchdown. As such, boom. As for Mostert, I mean, we should see a bunch of carries in a rushing touchdown. I just prefer to play David Montgomery because I think that A-Chain could go off and could take over. That's the only reason I'm worried about it. Otherwise, Montgomery, I know, is never going away within that offense because of how strongly they believe that his presence is important to how they want to, function their offense in Miami or in Detroit. Sorry, Fields or Daniels. If I'm not mistaken, I have Daniels one spot ahead of Fields. Chris, right there. I have Daniels at number 9 and I have Fields at number 10. Again, those rankings do hold precedent. So if you look at it and it says, Daniels over Fields, Daniels over Fields. Thank you. Kevin S. says Brian Robinson or Yoshi Voss at a half EPR. Between the two, let's check where I have Brian Robinson Jr. I think I have him ahead of Yoshi. Brian Robinson would be the play in a half PPR. Thank you. All right, Aaron Jones or DJ Moore in the flex. Bloodshot. I'd play Aaron Jones there. I'm pretty comfortable with that. Let's see here. Tyreek Hill got arrested this morning. I've heard. Lawrence or Daniels, 0.3 per completion. I'd still play Lawrence there. FRS. Okay, Average Dan. Thank you, Average. Appreciate it. Says, Andrew, you are the GOAT, fantasy guru. Okay, thank you very much. Have a great season, everybody. All right, thank you. I greatly appreciate that. Have a nice day. Let's hope for as much fantasy success as we could possibly find. Let me go ahead. I need to send a text real quick. Let's send this. I need to just send a quick text just so we're all on the same page. Okay, done. Dog Mentality sent in a super chat. Thank you, Dog. Appreciate it. Fields or Joe Burrow? I'll take Fields. Yeah, I don't have an issue with that. If it was a 6-point per passing touchdown league, I would, if it was a 6-point per passing touchdown league, I'd play Burrow. But in this circumstance, no. Someone said Underdog picks. Sure, let's go ahead and do that really quickly because we are in the final minutes of the stream. But let's really quickly go ahead and display them. So again, going back to the bottom. McCaffrey anytime touchdown. Garrett Wilson 5.5. I don't know if the number still sits there. Stroud 2 or more. 1.5 or more potential passing touchdowns. I took the higher on that. Higher on this. Zamir White rushing yards. Hunter Henry receptions. Jaleel McLaughlin receptions. Higher on Kenneth Walker's rushing attempts. Higher on Alvin Kamara anytime touchdown. Higher on James Cook rushing yards. Higher on Deontay Johnson yards, higher on Jackson Smith and Jigma Laga's reception, and I had a free play here because of the vulture protection. I got vulture protected by by Josh Jacobs because of Jaden Reed stealing a rushing touchdown, and I got this free play. Otherwise, you could take advantage of the free play of 0.5 total yards for the one and only Dak Prescott, who will show up in about maybe 10 seconds right here. Going into this week, you can take advantage of this. If you sign up today using code Andrew and make a first-time deposit minimum of $10, not only are you going to get the first-time deposit offer of this, potential play, but you'll get my rankings every single Sunday morning. Thank you. Okay, Horny Goat says, PPR, pick one. Pickens, Odunze, Coleman. I'll play Pickens there. Thank you. Luis Castillo says, PPR, drop Corum for Jordan Mason. I would not do that. No, thank you. If you're a Christian McCaffrey manager, find another way. Because you've got to have it on roster just in case. You never know. But I don't feel like I want to drop Corum in that scenario. As for Jorge Perez, let me see what Jorge Perez. There wasn't a message attached, Jorge. Let me see if you maybe typed it out somewhere else. Jorge Perez says, good morning, Andrew. In a full PPR, currently have Sanders. Should I drop him to get Santos or Hopkins? Cairo Santos, again, another one of those kickers who is proven who you can kick outdoors. So can Hopkins. Both of them were in the top 5 in terms of fantasy points per game on average last season amongst all kickers. I really like them both. If you want to keep Jason Sanders, you can. I don't have an issue with it. He's in a potentially high-scoring game against the Jacksonville Jaguars based on implications. So I think Jason Sanders again is in my top 12 as well. It's going to differentiate between. Not a matter of how many field goals they each kick. It's going to be a matter of who's going to kick the 20-yarder compared to who's going to kick the 50-yarder and who's going to get the more points there. That's really just the kind of the toss-up within the given week. Thank you for the question, Jorge. Appreciate it. Let's see here. Jose Rodriguez says, okay, so we took care of Jose Rodriguez's question in that circumstance. Actually, did we take care of that one? I think we did. We'll take David We took care of Kevin S. We took care of Average Dan. Dog Mentality. Okay, cool. Moving down, we have Ali, who says, can you see any world I should start Keenan Allen over Mostert in a full PPR? I know that you said Mostert, but I need to be talked out of starting Keenan Allen. I'm pretty sure I have Keenan Allen ranked higher in a full PPR. Do I? Yeah, I have Keenan Allen ranked higher than Mostert in a full PPR. In a half PPR, it's Mostert. So half PPR Mostert, full PPR Keenan Allen. And considering your question, Ali, is a full PPR, I'd play Keenan Allen. So I'm not going to talk you out of playing Keenan Allen. Let's play him. Let's get it going. Let's see here. Shackle Free says, rest of season, keep Dallas and San Francisco defense, drop one, or just stream. No, you can keep them both. Yeah, keep them both. I don't have an issue with that. They're both going to be solid. But if you want to stream one, that's up to you and as to your comfortability. I would leave the door open to streaming options going forward, but as of right now, I don't mind keeping them both. That's not an issue. Okay, let's go ahead and let's swap here. Let's go ahead and reset that. It's good to go. Okay, cool. So, took care of Ali. We took care of that. Boom, 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 boom. Jorge, Shackle, boom. Perfect. Done. Awesome. We have a couple more questions coming in right now. We have one from Patriot who says, in a full PPR, Singletary, Ford, McLaurin, Brian Thomas Jr., 2 flex options. Okay, so of the 4, I'm playing McLaurin, and I am playing, let me see who I have higher, Ford or Singletary in a full PPR. Jerome Ford and McLaurin are my 2 suggestions there, Patriot. Thank you, appreciate it. Coinflip says, should I drop Deshaun Watson for the Saints defense? I have Burrow currently, 1 point per 15 yards, 6 point per passing touchdown. Okay, yeah. Burrow is the way. And then you have the Bills defense. You would drop them for the Saints. I have the Bills defense relatively ranked high. I don't think you need to swap to the Saints. I think you'd probably just, I mean, you can if you want to, but I don't know if I would. Where is my defensive rankings? Like, where's the Bills compared to the Saints? Like, I have the Bills sitting at 4 and I have the Saints at 5. So I'm playing the Bills there this week. I mean, if you want to do differently, you can. I don't mind the drop of Deshaun Watson. As for your final question there, Coinflip, thoughts on Curtis Samuel? Again, he's very familiar with the scheme. He's very familiar with the offensive coordinator because that used to be his offensive coordinator in Carolina. So he could still get himself a lot of utilization. Time will tell, though. Let's see here. We had a question that came in from Romeo Connor. There wasn't anything attached to it, Romeo. I found it. It says half PPR, Ramondre or Deontay. I'll take Ramondre Stevenson there, Romeo. Thank you. Okay, so we took care of Romeo. Now we scroll back down. We're good to go. We follow to the next question. Vic84. Vic, hope you're doing well. Long time no see. Vic says, good morning, Andrew. In a full PPR, Burrow or Jaden, and why? Burrow. Okay, so between the two, if Burrow had both Jamar Chase, T. Higgins at a full capacity, no questions asked, he would be in the top 5 rankings. Like, he would be, of the remaining that are filtering on screen, would be in the top 5. Considering he doesn't have all of his weapons to his disposal, quite frankly, I'd just rather play the quarterback that has more rushing upside. There's a reason why Jaden Daniels ran for over 1,000 rushing yards and 11 plus touchdowns in his final year at LSU. He is a mobile quarterback with the capability, and that kind of upside integrated within his overall passing game, which should be in a negative game script, throwing the ball for majority of the game, leads me in his direction. As for your follow-up question between Connor, Pollard, Ferguson, and Dunze, I'd probably just lean towards playing Connor pretty comfortably there. Vic, thank you. Rika sends in a question. Says, hey, Andrew, good morning. Half PPR, need a flex, a Dunze, Hunter Henry, or Luke McCaffrey. Out of the available options in a half PPR, let me check how I have them ranked. I believe it's probably a Dunze, but it could be Hunter Henry potentially. Hunter Henry and a Dunze in my half PPR rankings. No joke. Legitimately, Hunter Henry is 1 spot ahead of a Dunze. Quite literally 1 spot. So if you feel comfortable with the Adunze play, you can play him. Otherwise, Hunter Henry is my top ranked player of the available options there, Rika. Also, your final question is starting QB is Jaden Daniels. Got it. I'm not starting Luke McCaffrey week 1. He's more of a bench stash, but for right now, yeah, the alternative options, like I mentioned, would be better. Okay, we have Romeo Connor, who follows up, says Ramondre or Deontay Johnson. Got it. It is Ramondre. Thank you. JSN or Ayuk in a full PPR. I'd probably play Ayuk there, but if you want to play JSN to be safe, it's not a bad option. Diggy Drop says, is Ben Sinnott a better stash than Jonnu Smith? He could be. I don't technically think he is because, I mean, look, there's a chance that he could just completely supplant Zach Ertz. We don't know. There's always a chance of that. So I would say that there's a chance that both of them could be good to go. Kendall says parking ticket. Are we talking about Tyreek Hill? What did he get arrested for? Listen, again, like I mentioned earlier, until there's actual concrete proof and evidence or whatever the heck that is released to the public, we don't know shit. Let's just leave it at that, shall we? Cody, thank you. Love you too. All right, moving on. T-Money99 says, start Pollard or stick with Christian McCaffrey. 1,000. I am telling you, 1,000% stick with Christian McCaffrey. I would rather my team lose than bench McCaffrey this week. That's how confident I am that he's going to start tomorrow. Matt Glore says, PPR, start Mostert or Ford as my RB2. In a PPR, I believe I have Ford ahead of him. Let me check one more time. Ford, nope, I don't have him ahead of him. They're literally back-to-back. Mostert 17, Ford 18 in a full PPR. Mostert's probably the play there. HN's your RB1. Gives you more incentive to probably play both of the Miami Dolphins running backs. So play Mostert in that circumstance, Matt Glore. Thank you. Jay Nice says, in a full PPR, Palmer or Ford with Swift in the flex. Okay, Palmer or Ford. Full PPR. Let's find this. Ford is there. Let's look this up. Jerome Ford is ahead of Palmer. Thank you. Appreciate it, Jay Nice. Okay, we have Kevin, the credit guy, who says Rico or Dortch in a full PPR. Whew. I'd probably play Greg Dortch there. Legitimately, I'd probably play Greg Dortch. Ali says, Ridley, Keenan Allen, Mostert, full PPR, pick 2. Ridley is probably going to be the one that's benched. So I'm probably going to play Keenan Allen and Mostert there. Let me see where I have Ridley in comparison to Mostert in my full PPR rankings. Look, here's the thing about Mostert. I don't want to start benching him until I see otherwise, especially against guys like Ridley. Yeah, I'm going to play Mostert and I'm going to play Keenan Allen there. Hey, Andrew, red zone or cable? No, red zone. Red zone. Come on. We're trying to look for touchdowns. What are we doing? I mean, I have the YouTube Sunday ticket. So, like, if there's a specific game I want to watch because, like, it's one of my favorite teams, then I'll go watch it. Otherwise, we're good. All right, guys. Randall, your message got retracted, so I don't know what happened there. Maybe resend that. Otherwise, we're pretty much 4 minutes away from kickoff, guys. I want to thank you guys for joining me today for our Monday live stream. Again, I appreciate you guys continuing the support. If you guys haven't yet already, we're 14 likes away from over 800. That'd be greatly appreciated if we can get there. We had Randall Cobblers who followed up and said full PPR McConkey, J.K. Dobbins, or Jamison Williams. I'll take Lad McConkey today. Thank you. Peacock or Prime? Feels amazing, man. Both. What do you mean? You got to pay for both. What are you talking about? You think I'm going to miss any games just because it's on a streaming service? No shot. Hey, Andrew. Okay, we took care of that. Chuba Hubbard or Keenan Allen in a half PPR. Ron Morris. I'd probably go with Chuba there. Let's see here. Hey, Andrew. I have JSN, Watson, McLaurin, and Kirk on my bench. Okay, yeah. If we're talking about waivers, we'll talk about that later. I want to talk about starts or sits right now. Sutton or Mostert in a PPR? I'd probably play Mostert there, Kendall. Victor says Allen or Kincaid in a full PPR flex. Let me check where my rankings have Kincaid accordingly. I think I'm going to probably have Kincaid ahead of Allen. I do have Kincaid ahead of Allen. I would approach it as such. Thank you. Let me make sure I didn't miss anything. Okay, didn't miss any of those. We're good to go. Okay, there we go. Pickens or Kirk in a full PPR? Dig, I would go ahead and I would play Kirk there. NFL Plus is great. I have NFL Plus as well. You think I'm joking? I have everything, guys. I have literally every service. I don't miss games. Chase or Garrett Wilson? Garrett Wilson. Hopkins, Brian Thomas Jr., or Keon Coleman? If it's a full PPR, I like Hopkins more. If it's a half PPR standard, I like Brian Thomas Jr. more. Yom Corey says, hey, Andrew, appreciate all the work. Okay. Which scoring format do you typically take into consideration when posting weekly rankings? Corey, typically the rankings that are here, half PPR. Meeting everyone in the middle, whether you do play in a standard or a full PPR league. Thank you, Franklin. Glad I was able to help. Hunt says Najee Harris or Josh Palmer. I'll probably just play Josh Palmer there. The person formerly known as Tom says PPR, Neighbors or DJ Moore? I'll play Neighbors there in a full PPR. Montgomery or Amari Cooper? Let me check how I have them ranked accordingly. in a full PPR. Amari Cooper and Montgomery. I have Amari Cooper ahead of Montgomery in a full PPR. I'd only ever play Montgomery ahead of Cooper in a full PPR if you are already starting Gibbs and you want to include all of the backfield production within the given game. Thank you guys for getting us over 800 likes. Greatly appreciated it. Half PPR Ford or Mostert. I have Mostert ahead of Ford. Okay, kickoff is just about to take place. Again, thank you guys. All right, everybody, good luck. Let's hope for no injuries. I'll probably be back later tonight in terms of probably live streaming just to kind of give you guys a review of week 1, see how we can potentially improve and how it'll go about. Otherwise, if you don't join us later tonight, I will be back tomorrow morning, tomorrow afternoon with a video, waiver wire targets, Tuesday running backs, Wednesday wide receivers. Pollard or Chase Brown, I probably play Pollard there. Wednesday wide receivers, Thursday quarterback tight end, Friday hidden gems, Saturday live stream, Sunday live stream, continuing on. Thank you, everybody. I do appreciate y'all. PPR Chase, Achane or Wilson. You got to play Achane. You got to play Achane and Wilson. For sure. For sure. Not even a question there. Good luck, everybody. Thank you. Appreciate that. Yes, we're going to be eating W's like Jameis. Thank you. Perfect. All right, guys. It's 10 a.m. That's where I'm going to call it. I'm going to cue the music of the double helix, and I'm going to go enjoy Sunday. Do the same. Enjoy your Sunday. And until next time, I'll see you guys. Peace.